ashtray from the dollar store. I have to stop this shit. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Let's get it. Lights. What's going on, y'all? Listen. So I had a lot of time. We had a lot of work to do. Don't worry, I got to get the people back to being mods who need to be mods. Everybody doesn't need to be a mod. Pretty good. So this is going to be a really, really, really good one. First off, I want to give a special shout out to my friends who definitely helped me with this one. This is going to be definitely a good one. Not done by just me alone, but also by my co-host, Attorney Nichelle, as well as Dr. Offrey, A. If y'all want to definitely hit them up. They are definitely two women who are proficient in their legal craft. One of my producers is here also, just chilling, and we're definitely here. This is going to definitely be the Roe versus Roe v. Wade discussion with professionals. Nichelle, anything you want to say before we start kicking it off? We also have a call-in phone number. That number is 843-865-1994. That is an easy number to remember. 843-865-1994.
Didn't y'all just hear him say it's an easy number to remember and he forgot it? So make him do it again. Make him say it again since he said it was an easy number to remember.
Michelle.
Yes.
843.
I'm going to say it out right.
843. Hang on, let me put it in there. Michelle's already starting to call in number is 843-865-1994. I have the number for you to call in. Nichelle has the number, so that way she can pull it out there for other people to call in. That way, if you don't want to come up on stage, that is fine. This is the call-in number. The call-in number is 843-865-1994. We've already tested out the number. We already tested out the number for y'all to call, so we know it works. And then that way we can respectfully listen to you guys. It's going to be a respectful dialogue and discussion. Nichelle, what's your thoughts before we start the show, dear? Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to tell everyone. We know we're talking about a very emotional situation. So I'm going to ask everyone to be patient with each other. No pointing the blame, no calling anyone, baby killer. Let's not go there. We're above all of that. This conversation is about the legal and medical implications of Roe v. Wade being overturned. So we're going to give you pointers. We're going to share ideas and suggestions and share experiences.
Right. Like I said, as my mods that I know come in, I will definitely be re-wrenching them up. Everybody's not getting a doggone wrench, so please don't ask. It's not about money. We don't care about the money thing. We do mods that I know. So there we go. So We let me go ahead and square that away, but I know the ones that have to do their job, they do their job. John, so make sure you get to that um with the putting out the proper information. So could you explain for them briefly? And we're also joined here before I even started it with the one, the only. You look beautiful when you smile, dear. Dr. A. She is a
Thank
pristine.
you.
She is a pristine doctor, y'all. Put some spec on the name. I have professional women that I deal with, from Dr. A, attorney Michelle, highly professional women. So you have it from the law side and the medical side. These are not no people I just grab off the street. Dr. A did an amazing job when we were talking with women of the ladies of the night, who were workers, and the ladies, actually the women that were listening in on Dr. A's conversation, they wanted to tell you thank you. Some of them actually, I think two girls actually did get out from your conversation, so they actually went to a medical place and got out. So they wanted me to tell you personally, Dr. A, thank you. Go ahead, Dr. A. We want to know from both y'all perspectives of what is Roe v. Wade.
Okay, I'll start real quick. Roe v. Wade is the landmark United States Supreme Court decision in which they struck down a Texas law banning abortion. The Texas law said that women could go to jail for attempting to procure or procuring an abortion. Contrary to what you're hearing right now, the decision rested on medical privacy, because back then you could go to a doctor, pay your money, get an abortion, and he could call the police and say, hey, this woman just procured an abortion. And they would not hold the doctor responsible. They would only hold the mother responsible. So Texas would allow women who had a medical condition that were married that wanted an abortion. They could have an abortion all they wanted to. So the Roe v. Wade said you have the right to medical privacy to talk to your doctor without your doctor being able to call the police about the things that you discuss. Jump ahead to the Casey decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey. Planned Parenthood said, well, the state does not have a compelling interest in protecting a non-viable child. Non-viable means a child that cannot live outside of the woman's body. It's a viable child, depending on the medical expertise, around 22 weeks. The youngest child is at 20 weeks. After can correct me on that, but usually before 22 weeks, hospitals do not want to deal with that child. The risk is just too high. So with the case decision on Friday that came out of Mississippi, the Supreme Court of the United States said, we're overturning Roe. There's no such thing as medical privacy when it comes to decisions that involve another person's life. There's no such thing as this viability test. We're sending it back to the states. So they did not make abortion illegal. They just said each state, for example, New York has the most liberal abortion laws. You want abortion, you can have it. We're not asking no questions. Texas, if we hear a heartbeat around 6 weeks, you can't have one. And if anyone wants to try to help you, assist you to get an abortion, we can also come after them. But the Texas law is civil, not criminal. Missouri's law that went into effect 10 minutes after this is criminal. It will put a doctor in jail for 5 to 15 years as a Class B felony if they perform any abortions wherein the mother's life is not in immediate danger. We don't know what immediate danger means. So that's where we are now, that you can still get an abortion, but you may have to travel. You still have a right to travel. They cannot sit up there and restrict you, and their jurisdictional requirements. They cannot hold you liable for flying up to New York and doing something in New York just because you are a Texas resident. And that goes for the other states like Missouri, Mississippi, Louisiana. They cannot hold you liable for what you go do in New Mexico. It's just like, oh, I went and got drunk in New Mexico. You can't get a DWI if you ain't driving in Louisiana. If you murder someone in Missouri, Missouri has jurisdiction. They can prosecute you. But if you go over to New Mexico and murder somebody, they cannot prosecute you in Missouri for what you did in New Mexico. So no matter what Missouri may feel about the current abortion situation, they have no right, no authority over you whatsoever for what you do in another state. So is that clear where we are now?
And I concur with that. And viability, by the way, has changed over the past 20 plus years, obviously with medical advancement. Obviously, with medical advancement, we're able to have increased or improved survival for extremely premature babies. So, as Nichelle said, it's around 22 weeks. Take the next right. That's the difference between certain death and probable death. Probable death, you're still over 90% likely to die, but you have some percentage of chance of living.
Here. Can we hear? Okay. So one of the things about it is this, and I'm going to go off of that of what I'm learning. And you guys make sure y'all do me a solid favor. I want this to be echoed out. I'm already sending out the email invitations to other professional content creators. From what I know, the Roe versus Wade, there was a woman. She got into an affair or a relationship with a man. She did not want to keep the child. That was her choice. She fought it. She won her case. Let me know if I'm wrong about the history lesson. Now we're up to date. It is a choice. This is a choice, a binding decision of a woman saying, I have the consensual, I'm in a consenting mind that I do not want to carry.
The Roe v. Wade case is a little bit more complicated than you think.
I know.
Because she actually had the baby. By the time the case got through to the Supreme Court, she'd actually had the baby.
So she did have the baby.
She did have the baby.
Wait, I never knew that. I thought so. She did have the baby.
Yeah.
That unwanted child is an adult woman now, and she gets to talk about how her mommy didn't want her. It's very sad.
Now, here's the thing about this. Here's the thing about that, because here's the thing about it. I believe. Listen, I'm all for this. Now, here's the thing about this. Now, this is a question that keeps coming up. That I hear a lot, Dr. A, that a woman can just pop into the OBGYN clinic and just tell you, I don't want to have a baby, and y'all just give them an abortion.
Well, I personally don't perform abortion by personal choice, but the facts are correct. If a woman shows up in the office, you can't just, quote, do an abortion. You have to confirm that she's pregnant and not a nut job. Once you confirm pregnancy with an ultrasound, a blood test, a urine test, whatever you're doing, you need to know how far she is in the pregnancy, because the technique of abortion is specific to how many weeks pregnant you are. But as soon as you have the appropriate medical information for her safety, you can perform the procedure. That's correct, Joe.
You should say that's the surgical procedure. Because let's let them know that there's the surgical and what they call the medical procedure. And
there is a surgical abortion, which is you go into the operating room and the pregnancy is sucked out of you by instruments placed in your vagina and womb. The other technique, You just take something orally and vaginally, and then your body naturally expels the pregnancy. Obviously, there's a potential failure risk with both. The likelihood of failure when you go into the operating room and a tube is placed into your womb, the likelihood of failure is less than 1%. But if you do the medical termination, it may not work. Depends on, are you lying about your last period? Do you really know how far you are in the pregnancy? You have to be in the early weeks of pregnancy for the medical technique to work. But yes, it may fail and you end up in the OR having the surgical procedure.
And Afra, let's explain to people, because I get this all the time, that you know, they want to assume that the pregnancy started at conception. So I haven't had sex in like let's go ahead and say 4 weeks. I haven't had sex in 4 weeks. Okay. Okay, you're sure. Yes. But you're saying that I'm like 6 weeks along? And I'm saying that so that we can say medically, where do you go as your point of reference for when the pregnancy starts?
I don't want to add too much information for this audience, but let's be clear. When you use a wheel as a doctor, midwife, whatever, people who work in the business of pregnancy, before the app and all the other modernized things, we use a wheel. The wheel calculates your due date based upon your last menstrual period. Why? Because you see the blood running out your vagina. That's called a fact, not an opinion.
Then
When
that's
he
the
knocked
first
you
day.
up, when he knocked you up is an opinion that
Right.
cannot be
That's why.
proven. Your last
That's why.
menstrual period is provable. And so we document from the last menstrual period, 40 weeks later is your expected due date.
Is that the last day of your period or the first
The
day of your
first
period?
is always the first day. First day of your period, we
So,
calculate that.
ladies, start keeping track of that, both for your medical needs and your legal needs. You need to start keeping track of the first day of your period.
Now, let me ask this question right here, and I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna start it off. Hang on, Michelle, but I know me and you we've been already having our conversations earlier. But I want to ask Dr. A. As a man, should I not have a right to come into that room with you and my woman and say you need to stop what you're doing, not without my permission? Should I not?
I think it depends. All relationships are not created equally.
Fair enough.
So if you're in a relationship where the two of you are I and I, the two of you are in agreement about financial responsibility, moral, ethical responsibility, as well as physical accountability, Joe. Because what that means is you can't have morning sickness. You can't go into preterm labor. You can't have your life be at risk because of high blood pressure in pregnancy. So, as an OBGYN and as a women's advocate, the reality is you don't have shit to do with the pregnancy because it's not your life on the line. But if you and that woman are on one accord, now you have a vote. Now you have a say so. So it really depends on the relationship. If your shit is messy before she got pregnant, you have now just stepped in quicksand.
And legally speaking, as long as the woman is conscious, as long as the woman is conscious, she can articulate. If she says, I don't want him in the room, you have no right to be in the room.
Why not?
If the woman
That's
has,
my woman. Why can't I have her? Why can't I stay in there? If that's my
because
woman,
she is an
sitting there on that
autonomous
table, Dr.
human,
A, why can't I be in there with her?
because legally she has her right to medical privacy. And as long as she is conscious,
No, but
as
that
do
that
you.
goes that goes beyond a woman in pregnancy, Joe. We're talking about basic Health Information Privacy Act. Anybody who is a legal adult, nobody, I don't give a damn if you're the mommy, the daddy, the husband, the brother. Every legal adult has the right to say, get the fuck out the room.
I mean, that's the way we are. HIPAA protects you get the call. And if you do an advanced medical directive, which I do advise many, um, hey, you get that marriage license, you sign an advance directive. Okay. Let people know what you want and what you don't want. Let them know in the event that something happens to me, yes, I do want my husband to make those decisions without any further to do, without any additional consent. This is my legal husband. You have it all right there in one document where everyone can see it. File a copy of it with all of your doctors, even with your dentist, because you could pass out at the dentist's office. But the one thing men have to understand, just like the law is basically saying a woman's body is her body. The baby's body in 26 of the 50 states will soon be the baby's body, not the mama's body. So we are going to start having to see these decisions made on a very complex medical and legal manner that you have to be mature enough to sit down and handle it. There may be a situation in which, and I've seen it, it's frightening. Here's hubby, wife is experiencing complications. Her parents, his in-laws, want them to do everything they can to save the daughter. Now hubby has to come in and be the bad guy. No, I don't want my wife to wake up and find out that the baby's dead. Do everything you can to save the baby. These are things that if you are in a relationship, you have to be mature enough to sit down and talk about and not just leave it to chance if you really love the people in your lives, especially with this new abortion issue. Case in point, Molly. I'm going to give you the Molly situation. I'm going to give you the Texas situation. Because Texas is you cannot perform an abortion if there's a heartbeat. Abortion, i.e. you cause the death of I think it's unborn child. It's very vague, fetus. So a woman comes into the hospital with blood clots. The baby is killing her. She goes to hospital A. She's 22 weeks along. This hospital says, oh, we can't touch you. We might lose all of our licensing if we deliver this baby at 22 weeks and we cause its death. So you have to leave. She was literally airlifted by helicopter to New Mexico, where they had a better neonatal unit and they were able to successfully deliver the baby, and mother and child are fine. The Molly situation, an American woman on vacation. She's 16 weeks pregnant. Ladies, I know you've been told you can do anything and everything you want to do while you're pregnant. No, you can't. Afra can vouch for that. 16 weeks old, on vacation, starts to miscarry. For some reason, the way that...
Hang on. Can you hear me call in show? I think I got a caller that called into the show. Can you hear me? Hey, what's going on, D Darrell? Welcome to the call-in show.
Hey man, great show, man. I'm basically on the road. I'm coming from Louisiana back to Texas, and so I've kind of chimed in. I've listened to the last, I guess maybe 10, 15 minutes or so when I see Dr. A and Lachey up there, definitely giving their expertise, and I definitely appreciate you for having professionals up there speaking the facts and so forth. I just wanted to make a couple of points, and then I wanted to ask Dr. A a medical question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Y'all can hear them, right? Y'all can hear them, correct?
Yeah, I can hear him just fine.
Okay, go ahead. They're listening.
Okay, so as it relates to the current issue for Roe versus Wade and so forth being turned and so on, and now they're outlawing abortion and so forth. As it relates to abortion in itself, I'm pretty much a person that is I am pro-choice, but to a certain extent, and I'm pretty much in the middle. Overall, I think it is a woman's right to choose. But there are circumstances that that I see as it relates to mental health that concerns me, particularly those who repetitively get abortions and they use it as a form of birth control, or they're getting multiple, or even someone that has been mentally affected, whether they wanted the child or to keep the child or not, particularly whatever circumstances that led them to getting the abortion in the first place, that I don't hear a lot in regards to the long-term effects of abortion from a psychological standpoint. And there are severe effects of that, as far as the trauma of that, or what we may say as far as post-traumatic stress that can be developed from that, and so on. Because I've had clients who have had those issues, particularly those who've had multiple abortions. I've had clients that have had 2, 3, 4 abortions and so forth, and that's a concerning situation from just looking at it as a mental health professional. On the other hand, I'm also looking at it in regards to those who are pro-life, and so when I look at it from a pro-life standpoint, I'm kind of looking at it from the perspective of, okay, we're wanting to look at it as far as, you want to reserve the right for this child to live, per se, but like how is that determined? Like when is it at a point where you can, like, and it's the question I was wanting to ask Dr. A, like, when does, I guess, the fetus or whatever medical terminology that you use, when does that person or that being become as far as a developed human being? Because from what I'm saying, I've never heard anybody say anything as far as what months or what weeks as it relates to this being that's been developed, basically has 2 arms, 2 legs, a heartbeat. I mean, as far as you determining that, just being developed from a physical standpoint, being a human. I mean, because when I look at it, like, say, for instance, I mean, of course, I'm not a medical professional, but I mean, that takes weeks and weeks ever to develop into that. And so I'm like, when does that happen? I mean, because when we're in different spaces, you got people arguing, saying all kinds of things about, when is this, this person a actual person, or as far as the weeks in development that they have rights and so forth. But I don't hear an exact, or is there an exact medical estimation that can support that?
Go ahead, Dr. A. And Diderot, call right back in. I'm gonna switch it up. Okay, give me 4 minutes while she's talking. Call right back in, brother.
So that's a multifaceted question. Yep. That's maybe 5 questions rolled up. So firstly, let me address the issue of, you're saying, I'm not sure if I'm pro-choice or I'm pro-life, because I recognize that there is a moral, ethical, psychological cost to abortion. I would recommend you to the show that I did with Dana with the Data. Joe, Regina, Nichelle, and I have all worked with Dana before. She hosts an excellent podcast, and I spoke for an hour exactly on this subject matter: the psychological, emotional, spiritual toll of having an elective abortion. So first of all, being in the position of being pregnant and you don't want to be is a fucked up position. Let's acknowledge that. You're not having a happy day. It's just like being broke or being homeless. When you're in a fucked up situation, your entire response mechanism is operating under stress. You're reacting under stress conditions, not normal conditions. So whether you keep the baby or abort the baby, you're in a fucked up situation and you have to figure out what's going to be the best solution. So many millions of women who've had termination of pregnancy electively, legally, are still damaged post-traumatic stress as a result of that procedure. That's valid and it's factual. Secondly, you're talking about when does life begin? Well, medical answer versus the spiritual church answer, those are two different answers. So, whether the soul exists in your nutsack, okay, and the scrotum and the sperm has a soul, and the egg has a soul long before any fertilization. Fertilization is when the sperm penetrates the egg. Conception is the sperm penetrates the egg, resulting in the multiplication of DNA. The multiplication of DNA manifests to such a level that you have chemical detection of a pregnancy in the urine and in the blood. Otherwise, the sperm can penetrate the egg and everybody goes down the fucking toilet, okay? Because the pregnancy did not latch on. So there is no specific answer to your question. Does life begin when your heart beats? Does it begin when the sperm penetrates the egg? Does it begin when you develop arms and legs? Does it begin when you can sustain your own life outside of your mommy, outside of the womb? That is a debate that's gone on for hundreds of years.
Okay. Like I said, and y'all can call right back. Y'all can call back. We have it up and running. I know y'all said it was low. Like I said, y'all definitely could check it out with I think they wanted the more so the medical, they wanted the medical way
Medical viability, Nichelle and I already answered. It is about 22 weeks. I went into detail in saying viability. Viability is the word you're looking for. Viability has changed as medical technology has advanced and we can save the very premature baby's life. We just talked about that. So rewind the show because we did go into that. Nichelle and I both.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want
Go
to be
ahead, caller.
really clear, real quick, before the caller says this. The legal definition is currently in flux. The legal definition as to when a baby has protection, legal protection, is now in flux, and it depends on state by state analysis. Some states, as in Texas, is the most severe. Ours is as soon as a heartbeat. It's not technically a heart, but there is a pulsating sensation that they can measure. It's a heartbeat, the baby's heartbeat. The babies are protected in Texas up until, from the moment the doctor hears a heartbeat, that is now considered legal protection for the unborn. In states like New York, there is no such protection. The baby is protected from the point it breathes its first breath.
Okay.
So I just want to get that point across.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. That is fair enough. I'm gonna make sure I have it up there so that way you callers can call in. Like I said, if y'all want to come up and have the discussion, that would be up to the women. That would be up to the women. Like I said, because I'm just here moderating as well as having that of the discussion. From what we can say, and I know D Darrell, you're back. You're back.
So what I was trying to get to as far as I know you kind of talked about, I guess I'm not interested in a spiritual perspective. I'm more in regard to the medical because that can actually be of some evidence, scientific evidence. But what I was looking for, like was the latter end of my question. What I was looking at is from a medical standpoint. When again, I don't know the terminology so forth. That's why I'm asking. Like, at what, as far as period where the person is actually fully formed, like what month does the like that you all can pretty much measure or through the ultrasound or whatever, like say where a child is fully formed as a human being, meaning that they, like I said, having, you see all aspects as far as characteristics of a human being being there. Like what, like is there like a certain month that you can estimate where a child again has two legs, body, arms, neck, cranium, things like that. I was wondering what's the earliest detection of that as far as a person being fully developed as a female.
Wait, you're confusing the issue. I'm going to say it. That's why she can't answer. At what point in time, and I say this as a woman who's had 3 children, at what point in time can the child breathe on its own? That's why we keep saying viability. That is about 20.
Hold on.
Listen.
Oh,
You can tell. You can wait. I'm just trying to get it down.
Are you talking about
when does it look like a baby? When does it look like that's not fully formed? It may look like a baby, but its lungs are not fully formed. Its brain is.
Michelle, let's find out.
That's exactly. She's exactly accurate. That's accurate.
So that's why we are trying to get this together. You could tell a baby's sex at around 14 to 16 weeks. But you can see it has 2 arms and 2 legs and fingers at around 14 to 16 weeks, maybe early 12 weeks, Afre.
Okay, so
yeah, 12 weeks you can see the arms and legs. That's irrelevant.
Okay, Deidre, what were you trying to say? What were you asking them trying to find out?
Well, again, I mean, Michelle was answering, but I was wondering from the gynecologist per se in regards to, again, I was looking at when a child is like fully formed as a human being. Like again, as I talked about legs, arms, all that stuff, is there a period of time as far as that you all can see a person being fully formed in the womb at that point? I was wondering if she could give me any information in regards to that. I mean, or is there a way of measuring that per se? Now, I'm not asking the question in regards to determining whether or not, because I'm past the point because you've already explained it in regards to your perspective as far as whether it's human or not, whether it's from conception or what have you. But I'm looking at just as far as the person being fully as far as developed per se as far as a human body and so on.
Now, hang on. Let me ask the question. Girls on the panel, can y'all hear what he's saying? Can y'all hear him?
No. For some reason now, since he's called back, I cannot hear him clearly.
Now you can't hear clearly. Okay, so now we can't hear him clearly. No. I already emailed you. Like I said, when I switched to a different device, it changed. And I gotta fix this. Like I said, guys, this is actually my first time doing the call-in procedure. I'm gonna get it right before it's all said and done. Like I said, I can easily drop it. One person says just take their rights away. That's stupid. Then I would say didn't take anybody's rights away. I'm not for taking anybody's rights away. I would never say that. That's reckless as hell. Because why are we talking? See, when we start talking about taking away people's rights and privileges, that's where I'm a military. I fought for people's freedom and rights. I'm not for taking away anybody's rights. I find it interesting when Black people say take away people's rights, and I'm like, well, shit, that's crazy. That's very contradictory for a Black person to say that. Like you're talking about taking away somebody's rights, but one point that's what you was marching about. So when you have people talking about taking rights, I would be like, so where are you coming at with this, and what's your stomping ground? We got to be. I'm looking at this from a maturity, or that up like. And again, ultimately, I get what he was talking about. Like I said, they are about to lose their abortion rights already. Suck it up.
I mean, it depends on which state. Gentlemen, please, one more time. If I live in Texas, I have not lost my abortion right. I can still fly to New York or New Mexico. It is not like I've lost my abortion convenience, so to speak. And I
Yeah, I
understand.
don't think people get that. I don't think people get it. Like you can just go to different areas to go get it. Like I think the problem is, see, here's the thing about it, and I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say this honestly. Um, there are certain things that like. Listen, people, if y'all don't think people don't travel to go get different things done, like butt lifts, like women will travel out of country. Now we're not talking about rich women, but just women that, hey, they'll save up their money and they'll set it aside just in case funds. And we're talking in Russia, abortion is a crime paid with death. Oh, okay. Never heard of that before. But I think the thing about it is people are going to do what they're going to go do. We've already talked about, me and Michelle already covered it before. A lot of the Plan Bs are off the shelves. This is before this ruling even happened. Women were already stocked. Women and men have already been stocking up Plan Bs. If you're thinking that men are not going to be selling Plan Bs like they were selling toilet paper, you're very madly stupid. Like they're going to find a way to get those pills. Um, we're in a country where people will make certain decisions. We have somebody coming up. We're going to let them ask a question, and then after that, we'll put them. We'll see from where it goes from there. We have a person. What's going on, Alonzo? What's up, man?
What's going on, BMT? What's going on, ladies? How y'all doing? I really, there's some young ladies across from me. I want to go approach and ask them how they feel about the whole reversal of Roe v. Wade, because they look like they're in their 20s, but I'm not going to do that right now. They're out having a good time, and it's really inappropriate. However, you know, bro, so I've stumbled upon this fear, and I have a real issue with men being happy about this. Right? Because you already got these dudes crying about child support, right? And the women are having the babies anyway right now. So they're not going to stop. And now we have no place to be like, oh, well, there's 4,800 contraceptives, because now that's gone. So now the buck stops again with the men. So now what are we going to do? Because, see, now I was having this conversation with a gentleman the other day, and he was like, see, now we're going to get hit with things like the full medical bill, not subsidized by the government. So now when a woman goes and has a child, we're going to have to pay the absorbent fees for birthing, right? It's like 20 grand to have a baby, right? So
Yeah,
this is going to come out of our pockets. So instead of, go ahead.
Dr. A, you have delivered, I don't know, countless amount of babies. What is a low diff medical bill for you for bringing a child into the world?
Wait, say that last part again, Joe. What is
how much would it cost for a child being born?
Less than a fucking Birkin bag, okay? So the truth of the matter, for me to not only deliver your baby, for me to take care of you for 40 weeks in your pregnancy, and you can aggravate the shit out of me for 40 weeks. Unlimited phone calls, unlimited ER visits, unlimited care in my office. Then, however long it takes your ass to have the baby, 2 hours or 2 days. For all of that, the grand price, $3,000. So in other words, Cardi B with her rap, she makes more with a rap tune than I do delivering a baby. And the worst part is, you could sue my black ass for 21 years, thanks to the Nichelles of the world. You could sue your doctor for 21 years and blame them for your child being a loser. So yeah, $3,000 for the life.
And that's just the medical fees, you guys. That has nothing to do with if you decide to have a birth at a hospital. At the hospital, you guys,
Michelle, it's not. That's wrong.
They charge you separately. They charge you in addition.
You're Borgen, dear. You're Borgen. Dr. A, you're Borgen. Let me say this right now, and like I said, I'm gonna tell you this right now. when Melissa had her call about the drive. I think she's driving. When Melissa had the twins, and let's hope that, and if you don't have, I hope not any birth complications. The twins had to stay in for over a week, but they came out a little bit ahead of their time out of the oven. If I didn't have the insurance I did have, that literally I would have been looking at over $50,000.
Right.
Y'all gotta understand, them hospital equipment, that nursing staff, that overnight, the milk, that the special formula, when they gotta put a tube in the nose. You know, I'm not sure if y'all ever seen that.
The hospital's being paid out the yin yang, and don't let the baby go to the ICU, because then you can triple every hour.
So when all that starts to happen, that bill is consistently going up. Abortion fees that energy and weakens a nation of great people. It amazes me this, and Alonzo asked a good question. Now that the mantle of Roe v. Wade is being removed, I have to ask the question. So what does that mean for the men? Because I hope y'all understand that, listen, the OBGYN business practice is still going to be going. Nichelle is probably going to be more busy in the law department of family court or in any kind of court. I'm trying to ask that where y'all trying to get this to go? Because as a man, y'all do know it's going to definitely start falling in y'all direction now. I get it. Y'all saying the women are going to have to be more responsible. I'm wishing y'all the best of luck. Because understand, what affects the woman, it will affect the men. I don't know how y'all think that this is because what affects the women will definitely affect the men. Now, that's my synopsis of logic. Maybe I'm thinking differently, but what Nichelle has been working. Nichelle, how long have you been practicing law?
25 years.
You can't make a I've never seen again, nope, the women still going to get it going to be getting deletions. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, y'all, this is not, there are more ways than going to the doctor to stop a pregnancy. Before there was the practice, there were other easier methods. Fruit, fish, different objects that lay around your everyday house. They were always there. They never disappeared. There are certain stuff. So, like I said, so I get it. Y'all think that.
Joe, can I answer this comment this man just made? Can I answer this real quickly? The one where he says nothing changes for men. They still be careful with who they lay down with and take precautions. Okay, gentlemen, I don't know if you have sisters or if you have female cousins or if you have daughters. Things just changed for the women in your lives in just about 26 states. That means if your sister is walking down the street and she gets raped, her options have been limited. Her options have now been limited. Brothers got to step up your game. You got to realize where the females are in your family, because the idea of just getting an abortion because of rape or incest has been curtailed significantly. Now, I'm not, a lot of times we get on these shows and we start talking objectively, like, me and my woman are straight. If she get pregnant, I'm going to marry her. Yeah. Well, my response is, if you and your woman are so straight, then why didn't you put a ring on it beforehand? Ladies, if you and your man are so straight, why didn't you insist that he put a ring on your finger? Walk you down to the courthouse and not have you sitting up there with egg on your face like T.I.'s, is it T.I. or which guy is it that just died and his longtime girlfriend gets nothing?
There's a lot of them.
Yes, a lot of them. And so, ladies, please, now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, you can find a situation in which your behind thought, oh, he and I are going to get married. We're going to get married. We're going to get married in September. Yeah, we're going to get married in September. I don't care if I'm pregnant. Guess what? With all the things that are going on out there in this world, COVID, monkeypox, let's just talk about general being a black man in this world. He might not make it to your wedding day. And then what? You wind up becoming an unintended single mother, and you can't go get an abortion. Your options have been curtailed. That in places like the South, if they can detect that there's a heartbeat, they're going to start mimicking it, and you will not be able to get an abortion in that state. Not because he loved me, but now he did. Gang violence, drive-bys, just simply these people are walking around into grocery stores gunning down people. Ladies, you have to think proactively. Brothers, you might find yourself in a situation where your girl, you love her to death, she might get shot, and guess what? The baby doesn't die. The baby lives. Are you ready to be a single father? Because the same doctors that cannot abort the baby cannot let the baby die just because the mother is brain dead. Y'all think about that.
Okay, somebody asked us, it's not a mass problem. It's not a man's problem. Can't pay me to sympathize. And like I said, and that's fair. That's fair. If people feel like this is not their problem, then they should have no problem with what the Supreme Court does or how it rolls down the hill when it comes to that of men in child support and family court, X, Y, and Z. I can definitely tell you right now, it's going to get a lot more rough, and a lot of people are insisting that this is something that is going to only affect out of the women, that the women should be more careful. Now, in that stance of saying that, I'm gonna say this, and I don't think this is going to definitely bode well. That men, if you thought that you used to be able to talk that slick jawline stuff for trying to get a woman, it's going to get a lot more harder. And me and Alonzo can definitely tell you, these women are going to be a lot more picky. Y'all thought y'all had it bad when saying women are gold diggers. They're only going to go for the best now, the best of the best.
Yeah.
I mean, let me know if I'm off with my logic, Al. Like I'm really like they're now going to definitely start only going for the cream of the crop.
Yeah, I think what happens now is there's going to be even more of a separation. And behind the scenes, I was actually speaking to some gentlemen about this. The separation may be for the better. I'll give you an example. You're familiar with the Autobahn, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, when the Autobahn was first implemented, there were probably a few 100,000 deaths, right? Because people had to get used to driving at those speeds. My cousin, who was in the military for 23 years in Germany, said the same thing. He was doing, I think, 225 kilometers on his motorcycle and flew off and skid the ground. So I think the same thing is going to happen with this reversal of Roe v. Wade. The bodies are going to have to hit the floor, and we're going to start seeing a separation. You're going to start seeing that women will move more strategically, and they only should. Survival of the fittest. So they already have their own competition. Women are constantly in competition with each other, let alone for the attention of men, just on the fact that they're always in competition with each other, right? Black men need to kind of be like that, and we need to always be in competition, right? Now, unfortunately, we tend to do that, but in the wrong ways, right? There's one thing to be competition. There's another thing to be friendly or healthy competition, right? Let's say you and I are working out, right? And I'm terrible at doing pull-ups, but you can do a whole muscle up and get your body above the bar, right? Well, you're gonna make fun of me and be like, "Oh man, you can't do this," and encourage me to keep trying. Come on, man, just get one pull up out. I bet you can't get just one pull up out. Get one pull up out. Friendly competition. Um, so yeah, the bodies are gonna fall where they may. The women gonna get the cream of the crop, and the guys who can't do a single pull up are gonna have to fall where they do, or start pulling their weight.
Mm. But join here now. We definitely
I agree with the caller. I totally agree with that.
like I said. Listen, man. I'm telling y'all right now. If y'all men were complaining before or saying that the unfair, it's how unfair it was getting, I'm gonna tell you right now. It was a lot more convenient before what just happened. You had a better shot. I can never understand why
Mm.
anybody would want anybody's right to get infringed upon, but I, I guess people have to learn the hard way. What's going on, Dita, bro? How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm gonna have to strongly disagree with what the caller said. Just like with any law or anything that's put in place, human beings will adjust, and they're gonna get illegal abortions, and then there's gonna be a black market to do it, just like with any other um, with any other type of business or service. Um, there are going to be people um, that are going to go to private doctors who are going to perform abortions. And I don't really. What's the only change that I really see is for those that were going to Planned Parenthood or other places to get it done. They're going to have to start going to other entities privately to get it done. I don't see this being. Now, I do think that there will be some issues as it relates, because I do think that there should have been some exception as it relates to someone in incest, a product of incest or rape or grape. I'm sorry, saying grape or some type of medical thing that may have put a person at risk of dying to do it. But I just think that people are going to adjust to the rule and they will find alternative means to get the procedure done. And that's to me consistent with any other thing that with human beings. If
In
we
all
can't do it,
fairness, there is
I can
no
concede to that.
opportunity when we're talking about
there,
illegal
there, there there
abortion.
are unethical doctors that will do it.
Well, that's true, but what I'm talking about is illegal abortion, sticking a hanger in a
Yes,
dark
like I said,
alley up into your womb. You're going to die,
there are
sir. It's
doctors
called
there are
morbidity and
doctors
mortality. Those
there
people
are
will not
doctors.
survive. They
Yeah, I get
didn't.
that. I
Imagine
stated
World
that.
War II
Hey,
all over again, the
I, I,
1940s.
I stated rape, grape. I stated incest, and I also stated medical condition
I'm
that
not
could.
challenging that. I'm
I
telling
know.
you, if it's done illegally, the person who's the recipient will have a very high morbidity and mortality. I'm not talking about should it be offered in the case of rape or incest. Sir, I'm responding to illegal abortion is going to kill people. Period.
How is that? If you knew how to do it
If
legally,
you
is
stick a hanger
the
in
process
your
changes?
vagina, you're going
No,
to
no,
get
no, 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 no.
tetanus. Have you
That's
heard of
not.
tetanus?
Wait, are you? Why are you yelling, ma'am?
no, no,
Why are
yeah,
you
yeah,
screaming and yelling?
yeah, Doctor A,
We're
Doctor A.
having a
I'm
discussion.
the same. To me, you're yelling. You're at the same tone of
No,
voice
no,
as me.
I am not.
No,
I
no,
am
no, no.
not
Okay,
yelling.
well then we're
I
talking
was.
about perception. We're
I'm.
talking about
Ma'am, can you
perception,
please
sir.
calm down?
We're talking
Can you
about
please?
perception.
Can you
I
calm
don't
down,
I
please?
don't need to calm down. You're not in
Yes,
my
yes,
personal
yes.
life. You
Hey,
don't
Well, you're
personally
yelling at
affect
me.
me. I'm
We're not
extremely
going to have a
calm,
Calm
discussion.
and you're being
We can't have a
disrespectful of a
discussion and you
Jay,
can't
panelist.
mute.
yell and interrupt me. What
Jay,
I'm
mute.
Well,
stating.
it's called a
Can
conversation.
I
If you
give a
have a
can I give
brain,
guys,
can I state my
calm down, guys, calm down, calm down, calm down,
okay?
calm down,
I
calm
just
calm
down.
is calm like it's
ma'am,
in your
ma'am,
personal
can you
life or
let me
your house
finish?
is on fire.
Can you let me finish a sentence, Dr. A? Please. What I'm stating is that um I would think, logically speaking, if abortions are being done correctly by trained physicians, and they decide to do it illegally, won't the outcome be the same? What's
No,
going to be different?
no,
Why not?
no.
I'm saying it
One,
would not be done by trained physicians. If a physician can be arrested and locked up, as you
yeah.
heard Nichelle say, that's a change in the law, sir. And once
So
again,
you're telling
please
me
don't
they're not going to
disrespect women
no,
and
no, no,
refer to
no,
me as some angry
I'm
black
not
woman
disrespecting.
because I
I'm
don't
not
know
disrespecting.
you. And so I'm
I did.
extremely
First
calm.
of all, I'm not
Only if
disrespecting
you were in my
anybody.
personal life would I personally be
I'm not
affected by you.
disrespecting anybody. What I'm asking is a question. Now, if you don't like it, you want to
And
get
let me get,
emotional.
I
That's your
find
problem.
calm
That is
down
your
being said
problem.
to a doctor
No,
offensive.
listen,
Offensive
but
and
yeah, you do need to
disrespectful.
calm down. You
No,
do need to
let's
calm down because your voice projection is loud.
Well,
It
so is
is. I don't
yours,
think you
sir. So is
realize that.
yours, sir.
No,
So is
no, it's
yours,
not.
sir.
I'm
So
raising
is
my
yours,
voice
calm.
sir.
Hey,
to try to get you
listen.
to hear me. I'm just stating a question. I'm not trying to trigger anybody.
And you're
Okay.
not triggering. I'm
I'm
just
not well, okay.
answering
Well, I'm
a
glad. Well,
question and you can't handle
you're
the truth.
acting like I'm triggering you. Well, quit acting as
No,
if
I
I'm
think
triggering
you
you.
can't handle the truth.
No, I'm just asking a question. You're getting loud. Why
Michelle,
are
your
you getting
daughter.
loud?
My
I just
voice is
asked a
the
question.
same tone as your voice.
What I'm
I'm in
stating,
my
what I'm
house.
stating,
My
what
voice
I'm
is projecting not outside of
I'm gonna
this
talk to
room.
BMT.
So what the fuck are you
BMT, what I'm
talking
stating,
about?
BMT, what I'm stating is that there will be doctors who will do illegal abortions. That's all I'm stating.
No, I agree.
That's all I was trying to state.
There will be, and let me piece it together. I know. No, no,
And
no.
that's not far fetched to say.
No, you're fine what you're saying, brother. I'm actually getting, and I'm gonna tell you why. And y'all, it's a fair assessment why. I'm gonna tell you why it's an emotional thing, from both sides, because there was a lady of the night. She got a backdoor abortion. She died. We found her body.
Right,
Oh, wow.
The thing about it is, with the backdoor abortions, there's a high mortality rate.
right.
For a lot of us, right? So for a lot of us who have been in the operating room with there's always some type of complication. Not always, but something happens that either the doctor catches and says, "Hey, we need to take care of this. We need to get this sewn up. We need to watch her throughout the night. Her pressure's low." I've You know what I'm saying? Like, she's bleeding more than usual. Usually when it comes to these backdoor stuff, it does a lot of damage. Like
I
the
don't
hair.
Right.
think the caller knows what backdoor is. Backdoor means it's not a licensed board certified doctor.
no, what he
I
means,
know that. I'm
Afria.
very aware of that, ma'am.
Can
I'm
I
very aware of
finish?
that. I
You
don't need
guys,
you
hello,
to determine what
hello,
I know and don't know. I don't know. I
hello.
don't need
Could you
you to
guys
tell me.
stop making it personal?
You can ask me. You can ask
Yeah.
me whether I know or
Hello,
not, or
Hey,
not to
Well, I
assume
stated
that I
it as a
don't know.
question,
Joe,
and
can
you
you
may
start
be on
using
your
the mute
period
button?
because something's
Joe,
wrong
can
with
you
you.
start muting? Can
yes,
you
I
start
will.
muting?
I will.
Okay. The thing about it is, I understand both parts. But what I need people to understand, just like you can go and get prescription drugs, like Russ Limbaugh got addicted to prescription drugs, Michael Jackson got drugs from a licensed physician. Yes, there are people out there who can go to a licensed medical provider who used to do it when it was legal, but now it is illegal. Do you guys realize the surcharge that he now has to charge because he can lose his license and go to jail? You are taking a risk. If you go to someone who does not have experience, they could still be a doctor. There are people who believe that any doctor has learned the procedure in medical school. They might have seen it on the video, but seeing it on the video is like watching somebody drive and then getting behind the wheel of the car.
Right, but
and trying.
Nichelle, with all respect, I'm talking about if the law says that a doctor can be put in jail. That has never been the law before. No doctor is going to want $200 when they could be put in jail. They're not going to do it. So the people performing the abortions are quacks. That's why the mortality goes up. I'm trying to educate. So all of this foolishness about calm down is offensive.
You know,
Okay,
like I said,
you're assuming that all doctors are ethical, and they're not.
we
And
know that. That's
you're
why we
you're
said
right
there's so
about
many
that. You're right
doctors that
about
They're
that.
not.
prescribe. That
All
there
doctors are
are
not
so
ethical.
many doctors that prescribe, ladies. I'm talking to the ladies out there. I'm not making this personal. Ladies, if it looks too good to be true, if somebody is sitting up there selling Louis Vuitton on the street corner, out in the hood, you do not want that Louis Vuitton is going to bleed or melt or whatever the hell fake leather does. You need, if you find yourself in a situation in which you do experience an unwanted pregnancy and you are past 6 weeks, do not panic. Start saving up your money. You know, if you have to get on a bus, there are churches, go to the Unitarian churches. They offer assistance out of your state into another state. There are all kinds, it is now, there are Harriet Tubmans out there for safe, effective abortions. Do not, under any circumstances, go to somebody in the hood because he can do an abortion for $200 because he used to do it back in the day when they were legal. Don't use him. Please do not. He's trying to game the system. He's trying to use you, and you could wind up dying. I don't care if he got a license up there from your state licensing authority. Guess what? You only need a day. You only need a day to pass most medical boards. It means you just didn't flunk it. So there's some very incompetent doctors out there.
And the
So
show, right. Actually, there was a woman who went to a plastic surgeon in New York. He was unethical and unlicensed, and she wanted plastic surgery. Well, he was doing this back alley. So she had a complication. She was allergic to lidocaine. She began to have an anaphylactic reaction. Anaphylaxis is life and death. So she died. He put her in a suitcase, and that's the end of her.
One of the things about one of the things about it is, and we're also like we're joined here with definitely D. Darrell is a therapist. That's one of his professions. Alonzo handles finance, taxes, property. Y'all going to start seeing a flux in every last one of our fields. You're going to start seeing a flux in the medical field, the psychological mindset of a lot of men and women. You're going to also start seeing a flux in the housing and property. Me and Michelle know, like, from when it comes to law, y'all going to see some changes coming. Don't think it just stopped at Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade made changes for other laws, but y'all going to start seeing different things start to ripple effect. HIPAA will be affected by this one. Yeah.
Forget, I want every Black person to start paying attention to Black Rock and Black Stone. Google it, Black Rock and Black Stone. In Black Rock is mostly domestic. That means within the United States. Black Stone is international. Black Stone has a gross what do you call it? Gross GDP, it has gross assets. Gross domestic product. Is a private corporation that is third only to the United States and China as the money that it has under management. That's how huge it is. And Blackstone is domestic. Black Rock is domestic, and it is currently controlling. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't on mute.
Basic question, Michelle.
No, Black Rock
Michelle,
is yes.
Are you talking at a louder voice or quieter voice than I was when I was accosted a minute ago of yelling? Are you talking at the same tone of voice, yes or no?
You know me, I just have a loud voice, so I don't take it personally. But what I'm saying
we all do.
Okay.
But when I'm saying with Black Rock, please, let's inform our viewers. Black Rock is a domestic corporation that is taking control of the housing market in anticipation of Roe v. Wade being overturned They started April Ventures. April Ventures bought 90,000 houses and turned them into Section 8. 90,000 homes. These are not apartments. These women are not going to go to the ghetto. They're going to go to nice, pristine neighborhoods where they're going to have 3-bedroom homes, a nice backyard, and the investors in April Ventures are going to get $3,000 per month for 90 off of each one of those 90,000 Section 8 houses for the next 20 years. I said 20,000, I meant 20 years. So do the math. We are becoming a society in which, how can we best capitalize off of these people? How can we make money? People are not spending their money as quickly, but they'll spend government money real quickly. Okay, let's go out there and get some of that government money. So one of the things, and I've said it before, the government is watching the birth rate, and they want to get the women to start having children. The United States has a problem. Our women are having 1.8, don't ask me how to get these numbers, on average, 1.8 children per woman between the age of 18 and 45 during her reproductive years. That's all she's going to have is 1.8. We need each woman during her productive years to have 2.3 kids to replace our population so that we don't have to import labor for the next generation. So understand how insidious these people are. They're not just sitting up there going, well, it don't affect me. I ain't worried about it. They are making it affect them. They're thinking about 50 years down the line when they are 55 years old and working in the legislatures and working in the executive branches. They are planning 50 years down the line. So as my community, please stop saying this don't affect me because, I already got something I'm going to be doing tomorrow night or next weekend. 50-year plan. I don't even hear a 25-year plan. A lot of you brothers are sitting up here. We're talking about, okay, guess what? Women are not going to be able to freely get abortion. Yeah, you women need to stop, opening up your legs to any Tom, Dick, and Harry. Are you one of the guys that have taken advantage of a woman that just opened up her legs? Oh, yeah, but I don't have to worry about her getting me on paper. But what if 25 years from now, a young man walks up to you and looks like you? Are you ready for that reality? She's not coming after you for child support, but he gonna come after you. Have you thought about that?
Now, one person puts this, and thank y'all for the comments. Like I said, this is an open forum discussion. Problem is not childbirth, it's single parent homes. I won't refute that. Single parent homes is pretty bad. Single parent homes, I'm not going to say they are bad, but then again, we have seen successful people come out of parent homes.
Well, Joe, the two are interrelated.
Well,
you cannot really separate childbirth from single parent homes.
Well,
because
that's true.
Where are the children being born? What percentage of children are being born into the demographic of single parent home? And if you have people in poverty or below a certain socioeconomic status that is illegal in their state. Michelle's talking about where you can just fly to New York. Well, that's not an available option for a woman who lives 200% below the poverty level. She cannot just travel. So the dichotomy that we're going to see in society is the have and the have-nots. The have can still have whatever the hell they want. Have an abortion, have a McDonald's fries. But the have-nots, the government will no longer pay for you to abort your baby at taxpayers' expense. That's what's changing.
Okay, so in saying that, but I know a lot of people say they don't want to pay taxes, and we're joined here by my good brother, Information Man. It's good to hear you, brother. Thank you for the Father's Day show that you did. That was a really good show, really good, really honorable.
What's up, Info Man?
Hey, what's going on? BMT, I just want to say a few words because I can't stay on long.
Go ahead.
If I can. the abortion situation, the doctor is correct. The majority of the women who are impacted the most, or they're utilizing the abortion, are usually women that are poor. We see a lot of our women, black women, but they usually are coming from social, economic, deprived situations in which they have and have gone to having abortion. I don't think that, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, because I'm kind of in between this issue. The debate is about, when does life start? Everyone has a different opinion, but I don't really think we 100% know, because if we did, we wouldn't still be having a damn debate about it in the year 2022 in the 21st century. Certainly it is going to be the poor of our people who are going to be doing this back alley type of stuff. D. Durrell did make a good point that there will probably be doctors who are certified that have been doing abortions legally, who will probably risk their medical license at trying to give women who are coming to them in really dire strait. My question to men out there, anybody, what if a woman is, and I'm not going to use the R word, because you shouldn't use that R word on YouTube. It does a lot of damage to your channel. I'm just going to say the R word. What if your daughter was mishandled, mistreated sexually by a grown man, or she was R'd by a man? Do you want your child to take that baby to term, since women are emotional and now they've got this child in their body that they didn't ask for? They were mistreated and mishandled by someone. And as a father, I have a daughter. See, most dudes, if you're a father, you're not a father, you don't understand this. Now you have to make a very difficult decision, because do you want your daughter to have this child to term when it was a child that she didn't ask for? She didn't open up her legs with consent to some monster out there that did that. That's another area that no one is talking about. Yeah, you have a lawyer. You have a lawyer on the pound today. If anybody knows anything about Dred Scott case, this is going to open up the Dred Scott situation again. What if women begin to go into other states to get the abortions? Now, will a state like Texas or any other state that's against it, will they be able to do what they did against Dred Scott, which was a black man, and say, you still our slave, even though you left the South?
Already said,
I want to finish my point, please. Let's say a woman goes to another state. Now, will the such state that she comes from, will they be able to arrest her? Will they be able to charge her because she went into another state and did that? Or are we going to go under what they call federalism? And so that's another area that I don't think people are really comprehending, how this situation opens up a whole other can of worms. That's just that right there. And I'm going to give you my last point here. I did videos about this, so nobody can debate me on this. I've done the videos about this. I've done studies about this, research, and it's already out there anyway. White people are finding their genetic survival is at a decline, because other groups, even though black people are having, even though black women, is what they say, are having more abortions, they still can't understand how we're able to still outproduce them. And there are more melanated people in the world than Europeans. White people are declining in their birth rates. Let me say this to you all. This abortion issue has more to do with white men being concerned about the birth rates of white women than they are concerned about black women, Hispanic women, or any other ethnic group out there. So even though they've passed this law now and it's going to affect our people, guess what? They didn't care about you aborting your kids in the first place, sisters, and they certainly ain't going to care about you doing backdoor stuff. They're concerned about their genetic survival of their women. So they did this, in my opinion, and y'all can go look at Dr. Frances Wilson. She talks about this in the ISIS papers. Yes. They're concerned about the genetic survival of white women, that white women are aborting kids at a time when they're already having low birth rates. This is a trick basket, and everybody better wake up to this. While we're focusing on, oh, it's black people, no, they are focused on white females. They're the main ones out there marching in the streets about this. They're not.
And in
They don't
Europe,
care about. Right, D. Darrell. They don't care about black women. They didn't care about you when you got abortions, and they ain't gonna care about backdoor. That's what we need to understand. We're arguing in circles. They don't care about us. This is about white men trying to maintain their genetic survival, and I rest on that case. D. Darrell, good to see you. The doctor, much love to you. Everybody on the panel, brother, BMT, love you too. But I got to go. Got to go, brother. Peace to you.
Peace,
Peace
brother.
to
Peace.
Peace.
we're joined here by Datu. What's going on, bro? What's your thoughts on it? I know you had some thoughts that you put out there. We have a panel. We're a lot more cool-headed now. I can understand. And here, I want you to understand this. This is pretty. I know we want to say it's not emotional, but we're bullshitting ourselves. It is emotional. One, we are talking about lives. Two, we're talking about rights. Human rights are going to be infringed upon. Okay, I know a lot of people don't like that. Listen, I had a backdoor abortion done on my kid. Okay, I've already talked about that long time ago. Okay, so listen, don't think I'm for that, but I'm not. But I also understand that. Guess what? She's also going to have a choice too. But ultimately, no matter how I feel as a man, that woman is still going
What's up,
to
man?
have
How
a
you
choice.
doing? What are you doing back here?
Datu, mute up, Datu. You guys, you ultimately, no matter how much I get mad, ultimately at the end of the day, a woman is going to have the ultimate choice. I don't like it, but I understand it. Just like I can have the choice if I'm going to stay with that woman or leave that woman when I drop that seed off in that basket. There's nothing she can do about it. She finds out, she spread her legs. Most she can do is, hey, nah, I'm not having sex with you no more. But I'm holistically in understanding that whatever's going to affect the women, men be prepared, is going to affect you also. And a lot of we're thinking very minute, man. We're treading on human rights. Y'all weren't for that getting a shot. Y'all weren't for a lot of things being done in this country. Every time I notice that human right bubble gets pushed more and more, that it's getting pushed more and more. And a lot of people don't like me saying that, but I'm not for pulling because what can done to one side can be done to another one, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. And I just find it interesting. Like, it's going to take some time. Now, I got kids. I'm not for my kids' rights being pulled, but that's how I feel. Go ahead, Datu. No, congratulations, Free. I know you're married. Bro. Go ahead, Datu. Datu. Oh yeah, I got him on mute. My bad. Sister Shirley, you good? I don't think she's fully there yet. Okay.
Yo, what's up, man? You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
What's up, man? It's been a minute. My main thing, man, with all this, man, is think before you act, more so than anything. You know what I'm saying? Don't put yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in. I mean, contraceptives and all that other stuff. People say, "Oh, it doesn't work, doesn't do this, doesn't do that." I mean, you just have to look at it from a perspective that there's a lot worse things out there than having a child. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like they still got them heavy STDs out there. People forgetting about all that. You putting yourself in a situation with all that. You know what I mean? If you're with your partner and you don't want to have a kid, that's different. When we talk about the casual stuff, I mean, it's much more worse things than having a child.
But hold on, but Datu, you do know you could be married and still get HIV. Correct?
No, that's what I was saying, but that's a different situation though, because a lot of times when we're speaking about abortion, it's we're speaking out a lot of people that are complaining about it that it's inconvenient to them as opposed to a lifestyle adjustment.
Now let me ask you this, and okay. What would you think if how many married couples do you think take a trip down there to the office to go get an abortion?
I wouldn't. I couldn't necessarily put a number on it, but you know what I'm saying. I'm sure.
Well, okay, I got you, Doctor A. Is that unheard of for married couples to come down there for an abortion?
Thank you for asking me. Actually, the statistics on these demographics are out. And so these are known facts that people can actually look up. Married couples are more likely to use contraception, whether it's a condom, oral birth control pills, the NuvaRing, the IUD, or just straight out tie your tubes vasectomy. A married couple is more likely to plan. The spontaneous sex, the unplanned sex, is what leads to the unplanned pregnancy. It is dominantly the single population that is not using condoms. Nothing floored me more in my first 5 years of practice than to realize the only people using condoms was married folks. I was sickened, but that's the reality.
I would say people that, like I said, to take into consideration all the STDs out there, or just don't want to put themselves in a situation where they're going to have a child. You know what I'm saying? Because until later in life, when I decided to settle down, I always strapped up, always,
Exactly.
from high school. But then as time went on, it became really important to do it because I actually knew somebody that caught HIV.
Right.
And once I saw that person, even though thinking about it, he never showed any signs, I never saw him as a person again.
Right.
I saw him as like a monster, a disease, or whatever. And like I said, there's a lot worse things out there than giving birth to a child. But so basically, don't even put yourself in that situation.
And that's real talk. That's real talk. And so what you're bringing to the audience is massive knowledge in the fact of respect yourself.
Yeah, because like I said, you know, but on the rights issue, I mean, you have to look at it. Okay, of course you're going to have Florida, and you're going to have Texas, but for the most part, you know, a lot of those other states, I mean, they got issues that they need to get worked out before they even think about that. I mean, like you look at Jackson, Mississippi, which has the highest population of African Americans in the United States of any state. You know, they need to just get back to work and figure out education, figure out other lifestyle choices before they even worry about this. You know,
but the case that we're talking about, that overturned Roe v. Wade, came out of a Mississippi law. Mississippi started this. Mississippi set up there and did, you cannot have an abortion after 15 weeks.
I know, but my point though, with respect, my point though is that blacks in Mississippi have so many more issues to deal with. Besides that, I mean, that state is in a very, very bad shape.
Right, they're illiterate, they're in poverty, etc.
Right. So aside from having a child,
one of the things.
So how can you even think about having a child when you have basically you could have your own state. All you guys got to do is vote. Nobody can contest that, and you're going to make the decisions on your own. Why are you worried about children when you guys can't put food on the table for yourself?
That's why. That is why. One of the things that studies have shown, that in poorer homes where they do not have a lot of materialistic things, they love children. They give them joy. Yes, they have to stretch things, but children are joy. So the Mississippi legislature, they're not a bunch of dumb people. There are a lot of African Americans that participate in Mississippi politics. And one of the things that they saw was that they wanted to try to discourage all of these abortions because of the psychological and healthcare trauma. I mean, when you force things into a part of your body where they're not supposed to go, your body's not designed to have something rammed into the uterus. That caused additional long-term medical problems when they decided that they wanted to have a child. You had women that had suffered, undergone abortions at younger ages. that one, you're not supposed to get any federal funds for that. Each state is on their own, but you're not supposed to get any federal funds for that. So if you have people who are getting money for an abortion, and I can't say how much an abortion costs in Mississippi. I can sit up here and say that the non-surgical abortion that you can only get up into 8 weeks is damn $800 in Texas. So I don't know if you are living 200% below poverty rate, you can't get a hold of $200 either. I mean $800.
Yeah, so
I mean that's why I say get on now, baby.
that goes back to my point to where it's like, if I'm not doing good without a child, why am I going to put myself even in a position to even be close to having to deal with that, whether I'm going to keep the child or not?
Because you're a logical thinking
person. You can't just say that it gives you joy. It goes back to the point to where what's his name came through earlier and was speaking about people were concerned about the white birth rate. Now, I'll tell you one thing is that in the Bible, and I'm not religious at all, I don't believe in God or any of that, but it does say, the Bible does say replenish the earth. Okay, from my knowledge of reading and studying. Okay, but now when you look at the countries that are most religious and least religious in this world, the most religious countries are the poorest. The most atheist countries are not the poorest.
So what's the point that you're trying to say? Because if you look at the fact we talked about the beam law, let's say you don't believe in Christ. I'm a Christian. I believe in Christ. The scripture says to go forth and multiply. The beam law is the human law, the human body's law. The bodies have cravings. The body's designed to produce. I'm excited about Roe versus Wade being reversed, and let me tell you why. It's because we live in a country where people are just irresponsible. They have sex with no protection. They party. They have sex with not thinking there's any recourse. I think it's wrong that men are not having the choice to be able to have a voice on the table regarding that child. I think this is good now. This is a good factor for men who say, you know what? She's going out and having all these abortions. I didn't even know she aborted 2 of my children. That's a problem that I have. This also is another good thing because the Supreme Court dealt it out to the states. Now, if you're living in a state that supports abortion, you might want to think of moving to California. California is a green state. New York is a green state. Go to those states, you can still have your abortion legally. Planned Parenthood is still in existence, and you can go ahead and do that. But I think sex and children and living is a responsibility with the individual. And we never needed government to intervene before. Black people in California are down to 6 to 4%. We don't have no black people in California.
It's actually about 3%.
Right. Facts. That's facts.
It's about 3%.
It's about 3%. Now they said a little bit higher because they want to talk about immigrants. But you're talking about descendants of slaves, people who built this country? Oh, it may be even less than that. So
Yeah,
they moved out.
But it all depends on how you look at it, though, because you look 3% of 40 million is different than 3% of 3 million, which is what the entire population.
So I was born and raised in California. I've been in California all my life.
Yeah.
There's nothing but Hispanics and immigrants and illegal immigrants. Let's go back to what Mr. Information said about this. Is the information. This is about growing white people. Why do you think they allow Ukrainians to come in here? Why do you think Ukrainians are going to be labeled Ukrainians? No, they're going to check off the box white. What are you, Ukrainian? No, they don't have that box on there. They're going to say they're white. They are trying to grow the population of the Europeans. And on the other hand, because they thought they could make it with the Mexicans. But the Mexicans call themselves white, and they know they're not white. The Mexicans are calling themselves Mexicans. Immigrants are saying they are coming here, and in this state, you have certain sectors where little Chinatown, little Koreatown. Well, they need a little white town. So they're going to say, we're going to have Ukrainian babies. And those Ukrainians are going to be white.
Yeah, no, I
mean, the Lincoln plan backfired on them. The Nixon plan. Nixon said that after 2 to 3 generations, Hispanics would consider themselves more white than Hispanic. They weren't expecting the rise of the brown. They were not. Muslims come over here, Islamics. They're technically white, but Islam and Indians can't tell themselves apart. So the Indians started going, wait a minute. I am technically Asian and you're technically white. Hold up. That ain't working for us. So there is that more comfortable space in the we can get along as brown people. So the white man recognizes that. I'm going to say it to you like this. The white man marches into little groups called caucuses, and they say, this is what I want to see happen. And they get together and they put their money together. And then they go to whichever side. They don't care, Democrat or Republican, really and truly. They really don't.
No.
And they say, if I get you elected, I'm tired of my white women running out here having abortions. How can we stop that? And they did. So all these brothers sitting up there whining and crying, I don't want to get put on paper. I told y'all, if you can't get together, if y'all can't get together, but y'all so busy working against each other that it's y'all are competing against. We need to start competing against men. No, you don't. You need to start working with other black men. That's part of the problem. We do too much damn competing as it is. We got too much gang violence. We got too much East Coast, West Coast. We need to start working together. Ladies, you know, when I stood up there and said, this is going to impact any man that has a brother or a sister. Did y'all see how many men said, I don't give a damn about them hoes? That's their own sisters and daughters and cousins that they talking about. So again, man up. Black men, ladies, we not trying to get, I don't mind using a gun, but I don't want to be on the front line. I ain't trying to be like Christopher Atticus, or however you say his name.
Come on. Great.
So what I'm saying is, now that we have this material change in law that we know will affect us, we have an increase in domestic violence among black women already. 683 black women have been homicided, murdered, killed by a significant other, father, brother, lover, husband, this year. 683. Year only got 365 days in it per year. So we well over, we are almost, I mean, what is the numbers? It's like 3 a day that are being killed. So what we have to sit up there and go is rethinking this whole black women are hoes. That's what them hoes get. Yeah, Roe v. Wade got overturned. These hoes, these hoes. Men, you have brought into that as well. You sit up there a lot of times and say, if I get with this woman, she's going to have to submit to me. And if she has a time of the month that she needs to mark off because of reproductive responsibility, this is the time in which I can naturally get pregnant. We are using other birth control pills, but we need to abstain for this week. And you say, oh, if the hell going to do me like that, I'm going to go out and get me somebody else. Then you are subjecting another black woman, another black woman's child, another black man's daughter to your own insensitivity, not only to your wife, and your daughters and your sons, but to this other black family's children. Please stop. I'll pass the mic.
One of the things about it, and like I said, I did open it for anybody to come up, whether I agree or disagree. Shout out to Datu for coming up to have a conversation. Al, D. Darrell. Like I said, the main thing about it is this, and I'm not trying to do the safe bubble. Like I knew, the reason why I knew it was going to be a sensitive conversation because one, it's talking about life, and it's doing that on the perception. Now, attack the talking points. Attack the talking points, not people. That's weak. If you gotta attack people, attack the talking points. Anybody will feel emotional, and I wanted to address that towards anybody in the chat. Yeah, I can understand. Like Dita Rose, yeah, he's talked to people who have done this. It does a psychological trauma. Dr. A, I can understand because hey, there are bad practices or bad people out there unethically doing things that are bad. That are ultimately is gonna listen. Whenever one doctor fucks up, somehow they blame it on all doctors. A cop fucks up, all cops do it. Anything that's in a certain field, they blame everyone in that field. Yeah, you can have shit to do with it, but it only just takes one person, and then everybody gets that. Everybody gets that card. Do I ultimately think that this is going to stop women? No, you're a fool if you think that, because one about America, people, when you tell people not to do something, especially in the world these days, we definitely go extreme with definitely doing it. We try to stop prohibition, actually alcohol, people getting what sneaking alcohol. I mean, y'all can thank NASCAR now. NASCAR is the birth from prohibition. Yeah, the guys who were running alcohol, they got good at it. So good that they made it into a racing sport. What is the irony of that? Trying to stop it when it comes to that of women not doing that. You're going to have men and women that are going to lucratively make money. They're going to make money off of this. They're going
I
to
would say
put it on
this.
the
I would
line.
say this, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. I
Go
would
ahead,
say
doctor.
that I would say that if anything, that if you want anything to come out of this, is that you want people to think and try to be responsible one way or another. If you're gonna do it, try to use protection or whatever, or not to put yourself in a situation. So hopefully, people are going to think about it more. Because
Right.
the flip side of that is just because you have a child don't mean you're gonna keep it. You know what I'm saying? Like that you're gonna raise that child.
I listen to both of you.
So,
I disagree. No one's gonna start no business on the side, and nobody's. People have to think anyway. Look, this law said that it's individually statedly known. If you live in a state and you know you got a wild coochie or you're a wild sex person, then move to that state. There are states that allow you to abort, and there are states that you come to Texas, you can't do that. And
well,
so
but
you
my
can
point
easily
though
buy
is
a
that
bus ticket. Hold on. You can buy a bus ticket, a plane ticket, a train ticket, and hop over to another state and get your abortion. Why am I going to start doing backdoor abortions in my neighborhood?
well,
Well,
my
but sister, with all fairness, you're assuming that's just like saying, why would you be homeless in a cold state? Why not just move to Florida and be homeless? If you're homeless, people don't have economic flexibility. Not everyone.
I understand that. But if
Right.
they understand how this law is being implemented, they can easily go over. That's all I'm saying. There's a responsibility that has to take place. Look, we need more black babies.
Now, I agree with that. You say plan, don't be spontaneous.
Right.
Now,
And
now
I think one of the businesses that I would encourage that, that there is in Texas, there's $100 million that's been set aside for people to start adoption agencies,
Yes.
private adoption agencies
I like that.
that are, there are options that will be created, legal avenues. We don't always have to go through the illegal avenues. And I know so many people have been saying about the R word. Are rape and incest, real quick, are covered in most states along the lines of see something, say something. If you are attacked, go to the hospital. You may not be able to go to Walgreens, but and find it at Walgreens, but they do have it at the hospital. So do not be afraid. Go do it. You can always, I always tell people, I said, if you don't want to testify, you just say, I do not recollect. But do you remember that when you came in, you said, I don't recollect. I don't remember. Well,
Right.
we're gonna charge you with a false police report. I don't
Right.
remember what exactly I said. Okay. I might have thought it that way, but maybe he was 5'10". Maybe he had on blue instead of green. I'm so confused because your memory starts to fog up. The
yeah,
longer you get away from an incident, the more fogged up it may have become. You can sit up there and say, maybe I dreamed it, but you got your pill. Ladies, if you have a night of wild sex,
Yeah,
you
Nichelle
know,
is right. Nichelle is
you
right.
know,
God bless the advocate. If you fuck up, at least the next day go get the morning after pill. And if you're in a horrible situation, go to the hospital.
you don't have to sit up there and be like, oh my God, if I lie to these people, you can say, the guy came up behind me. Oh, we heard you were at a party. Well, he came up to me behind me while I was trying to get to my car. Damn it. We saw you leave with so and so. Don't let them intimidate you into at any time if you go to the emergency room and the doctors allow the police to talk to you, you can always say, I can't talk right now. Please let them leave. Please make them leave.
I want to say this. Roe versus Wade, we're going to go back to the very beginning, has cultivated a culture of people of irresponsible acts of sex and an irresponsible act of what will I do afterwards? Oh, let's go do this. Go get abortion after pills. Let's go to abortion. Sex should, and now you're worried. Forget about that. What about disease? There's recourses to sex, and we live in a society where people don't want to be responsible for that, or they blame it on such and such. This is going to make you rethink your thought of how you open your leg.
How much more do you need? You got monkeypox. You got COVID. They told people to stay away from each other unless they lived in the same household. And you had people sneaking over, and they got COVID babies now. And they don't like each other. You know what I mean? You're right.
To life. That's what I'm saying. Even when you talk about COVID, you don't want to wear a mask, you wear a mask. You take the risk. But the bottom line, when it comes to, and let me say, American people, we were a culture of people that had 5, 10, 15, 16 children. Because why? We needed them to work in the fields for the farms. The farms paid our bills. Now you've got white people and black people who cultivate like white people. Where if you go to other cultures, people like if we talk about the Latinos, they have multiple babies on top of they got multiple lovers on the side. Demographically, that's why they're growing the way they are.
Well, that's because, like I said, that's because when you look at the most religious countries in the world, who follows the Roman Catholic doctrine,
right?
They're all third world countries. Europeans at this point don't follow the church anymore. They're atheists. Chinese atheists. The most religious countries in the world are in Africa as a whole, that continent, and South Asia for the most part.
But I also, shout out to my Korean friends and my Vietnamese friends.
They became poor over several reasons.
No, I'm saying here in the United States, they will have their children. You don't have to work the farms. You can cultivate your children to run the restaurant, the donut business. There are businesses that we can build. Right. That our children can help us with yard care service. It could be laundry services. There are baking services. Yeah. There are so many things that, I don't want people to sit up there and say the 9 to 5, factory 9 to 5 office job or the 7 to 4 factory job. They no longer need us to have all these kids. So that's why we stopped like white people did.
Let me say this. What state are you in?
I'm in Texas, girlfriend.
Okay. So
can't you hear the drawl?
You're Katy?
Yeah, I'm right next to Dallas. I'm right outside of Dallas.
Okay, you're right outside of Dallas. Okay, that's not Katy. California is cultivated by cultures. If you look at let me say this. America is cultivated by cultures, and California is the blueprint of it. When you think of like the people the Mexico people, they taught them all the construction. So now they have dominated all the construction from the state to private industries. Well, now their sons, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, and then they starting to have their own banks like with Wells Fargo. They get special treatment with Wells Fargo. When you think about the people from India, they've got all the motels now. You go to the small motels, no-name brands, to Quality Inns, to all these hotels are ran by people from India. And then they have their own banks that are from India. When we think about the hair industry, where you have the Koreans, well, that's our industry. Black people have made Koreans wealthy off the back of our head. And then they open up their own banks. All these cultures of people have come in. They don't consider themselves white. In California, in their own communities, there's stuff all in their own language. It got to the point so bad that the fire department complained to the state to say, there's a fire and we can't even read the name of the buildings on the wall because they're in their language. So they had to start putting English on there. They don't want to be connected to us. They just want to cultivate off of making capitalism off of us. I agree with you. What we should do, if they allow them to do that, we should do the same. But we're too divisive as a people. But the good thing is, I agree with you. If to have a child, build your own kingdom with your family. Build your own kingdom. Stop looking at family as something that you can just slaughter out. Build your own kingdom with your family.
I mean, I'm pretty much known to say this before. Joe has heard it a lot of the time. You know, family jewels. Black men need to get back to family jewels. I mean,
Okay.
stop just throwing your sperm all over the place. Is this woman capable of having your mama's child, your mama's grandchild? If this is not a type of woman that you can bring home to my mama and say, Mama, this is going to be the one that's going to be helping me raise your grandchild. If that is not the type of woman you can just get ready to put your penis in, stop, withdraw, dick control. I had men tell me, oh no, you know, Michelle,
No, she's
no,
pushing.
Michelle,
I wouldn't laugh at
it's
that.
not that easy. It's
It's not.
not that easy. Once
You're
you know you start feeling that groove, you can't. Who
Y'all
you
funny.
lying to? Who y'all lying to? Come on now. I hung out with my cousin, and guarantee you he could be mid up, and my sister bang on that door. Oh, dick went flat and got out of. Homegirl was thrown on the floor. So do not tell me that men cannot realize the fear that they are about to get in, and ain't no pussy. When no pussy that good that my nephew was going to let his mama catch him up in it. Okay? I'm not trying to be rude to people, but men also, you know, I understand things are good, but there are other places you can come on a woman. I mean, you don't have to be graphic about it, but she got armpits too. Put the armpit down, and you know, if you really,
What kind of
hey,
kink you in?
I'm not gonna lie.
Michelle, Michelle, I just told you about
We
saying
done
that
turned this
pussy
to an
shit.
X-ray situation.
That's where my beloved friend always takes it left.
Michelle,
Ah,
yo,
10 minutes. No, 10
yo,
minutes. No talking for you. You already out. 10 minutes. Next person. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kingdom.
I love it.
No, Michelle. 10 minutes out for you. Sit down.
Why you put on that? She was right. She was telling the truth.
damn, there's some armpits and shit. Like, really?
Listen, listen. Just let Michelle calm down. Michelle, go smoke your cigarette, baby. Go smoke your cigarette. Go smoke your cigarette.
I love Michelle. Leave Michelle alone. She's telling the truth.
Go ahead, Kenneth. Go ahead. Welcome to the panel. We already know the
Hey,
men right now. We already know the Gulag gang is in the chat. They watching from the corner of their
yeah,
little
well,
turret.
y'all probably gonna be mad at me because I'm happy that they overturned Roe versus Wade.
Hey,
I've always
that's
been against
that's
abortion.
your right. That's your right, man. Go ahead, speak your
Yeah,
mind.
Well, you're not
yeah.
the first one to say it. So, yes, speak.
Okay. Well, and I'm here with my lovely wife. Okay.
Hi.
All right.
Hi.
So let me just start by saying this. I've always felt like I know it's a woman's right to choose and all that stuff like that, but you're making a decision on another individual's body. I don't believe in that whole concept that a baby is a clump of cells and all that stuff like that or whatever. I was doing some reading, and it says that at the earliest a baby's heartbeat can start at I think it was 3 weeks in the womb. At 3 weeks, typically a woman doesn't realize that she's pregnant until I think it said after like 4.5 weeks, maybe almost 2 months. So more than likely that child is feeling them being murdered. You know, but I will say this from a political standpoint, me being a black man, and I've come to the realization that the Democrats are no more on our side than the Republicans are. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've been one of those down ballot people where I feel like we need to start sitting out, voting with our feet. And I think this is a prime example because I know a lot of liberal Democrats are upset with what's happening right now, even not just with Roe versus Wade, but also New York versus Braun, the gun control law. Uh, and the reason why I'm saying that is because Trump, what the those both of those decisions were 6-3 along party lines. Trump, during his 4-year tenure, was able to nominate three Supreme Court justices. Three. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, in particular, black men, not, we still voted at a high rate for Hillary Clinton. I didn't, but but we didn't vote for Hillary Clinton in nowhere near like we did for Barack Obama. And while the sisters stayed loyal to Hillary Clinton in the Democratic Party, that was enough to get Trump nominated. Not that we voted for Trump, but it was enough but us not voting got Trump nominated. He was able to nominate 3 Supreme Court justices, and here we are today. And I would any Democrat that feels that us getting Juneteenth, and and I'm not against Juneteenth or anything like that, but while everybody else is getting actual tangible benefits from Biden and the Democrats, you keep pulling this stuff with black people, and it's only going to get worse. That's all I got to say.
I'm from Texas. I know I'm on timeout, but thank you. Juneteenth is our Texas holiday, so thank y'all.
So let me say this about Juneteenth. Juneteenth was a bipartisan agreement that started before Biden was in office. This was not an executive order. This was a bipartisan agreement. Shout out to Doug, by the way. Thank you, Doug. I love you. I haven't talked to you for a while, but I think you're a wonderful moderator and always in the chat rooms. I love you, Doug. So let's clarify that. The problem with Juneteenth is a lot of people. I went to a Juneteenth event and I was in Texas, outside of Dallas. And the gentleman went all into this Dr. King speech. Dr. King does not apply with Juneteenth. Juneteenth has to do with the emancipation. It has nothing to do. It has to be taken into protection. It was averted 2 years afterwards. And I think that, and they said because the information got to them slow. I have a different philosophy. I think 2 years allow you to get 4 quarters, 8 quarters of crop work free on niggas as long as you can. And I think that's what happened. And to find the federal government, and they start seeing all these blacks walking towards the north, and they said, "What's going on? We mean we're free." And they had to acknowledge that the blacks were free. So we were truly free. That's our independence. That's our 4th of July for those who are descendants of Negro slaves. So let me clarify that. But I understand where the brother's coming from. I totally agree with him. It is going to make people understand that how politics are ran. The Supreme Court that you see in place is the one that Trump put in place. I voted for Trump. I was a delegate for Trump and a surrogate for Trump. So I'm a conservative, and I believe that we should look at how laws affect our community, but we need money that is allocated with it. We need leverage. We need executive orders that are allocated. You will not be getting that under this administration. I always tell black people, you need to look at the Chinese. I did a whole video on my YouTube, my recent one. I said, you need to look at the laws as far as executive orders and how the Chinese have executive orders. They have a Chinese and they have the Asians having executive orders, the Latinos having executive orders, and they allow them to have access to departments in this country and allow them to make money in this country with their departments. So yeah, we have to see how those monies are allocated. They're not towards us. You've got black elected officials standing behind him for Juneteenth that are not descendants of slaves. Kamala wannabe Black Harris, not descendants of slaves. Sheila Jackson, not a descendant of slave. But you standing there for Juneteenth. Juneteenth is about the emancipation. So they have people under executive orders that have access to departments that are not elected officials. And the only blacks we lean to are the elected officials that are supposed to represent their state and not black people. We got to get together. You need to understand how these laws are played, and they ain't even working in your best interest.
Well, I would say this about Kamala Harris is that that is true what you say, but at the same time, you still have to look at you have to set aside her race and look at her as the vice president. So when you have the vice president at your event, that's second best to having the president at your event.
At my event for what reason?
Race aside.
No, for what is she? She's part of that Delta something community, and they're complaining.
No. AK.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
AK.
I apologize for that. She's part of the AK, and I've got AKs who've come to me saying she ain't doing nothing for us. What is Kamala Harris doing for black people right now? I'm from California. She was a senator in our state. She put more black men in prison than a lot of other attorneys doing her round. She slept with Willie Brown and dicked her way up through politics.
But really, Brown's a player. That's different.
No, it's no different.
No.
I'm being sarcastic because we know Willie Brown's a player. I'm being sarcastic.
I don't know where you're from. I'm from California. And
I'm from California too.
I can tell you, born, raised all my life, this woman didn't do nothing for us. Her mother's from India. Her dad is from India and Jamaica. But she passed off saying, I'm black. You are not black. You are not black. And then
we have to stop settling. We have to stop settling for. You're right. We have to stop settling. Just because she looked like us, don't mean she for us.
I understand that, but my point was that you had the vice president at your event, regardless what color she was.
What does that mean? There's no money allocated towards that. Okay. So you show up. Y'all happen to show up. Obama showed up at events. What'd you get out of it? We need money. We need resources. We need jobs. We need money to be able to have our own businesses. When you live in California, you got Mexicans cooking soul food, Chinese cooking soul food, but you won't give us our own money to use our own recipes. That's the problem.
Yeah, but there's more. There's more than cooking food.
That's a start. I mean, it's a start. You sit up there. You know, I think I've never heard of what's called slutty vegan. Slutty vegan that is marketing outside of the particular demographic. She's marketing to the mainstream demographic. And my services are marketed to, whoever can afford to come in and pay my retainer. I have no more, I do political action. That is, and I do talk shows. That is my public service to the Black community. But so often we get to the point, I think Afraid said it when we were younger. When Afraid and I went to Duke and George Washington together. When we come in and sign these huge loans that more than my mother paid for her house. I'm signing this loan away at 18, 19, 20, 22. By the time I was 23, I owed them a house. And they sit up there telling me, you owe it to the Black community. Excuse me? You owe it. The McDonald's worker was in the black. I was in the red. I was $100,000 in debt. The McDonald's worker was at least getting minimum wage every hour. I was going further and further in debt every year. So we put a lot of pressure on our educated system. And then I understand Afra's little momentary loss of control, because a lot of times as professionals, Black professionals, when we go into the Black community to try to help, unless we are doing it for free, then we're told, you think you're better than me. Hell yeah, bitch, I think I'm better than you. I went through 4 years of undergrad at one of the best white law schools around. White people will sit up there and go, ooh, I wish I could have gotten into there. There were a lot of Black people, not enough. I went to one of the best law schools. Afraid went to the same medical school. We both went to George Washington. Oh, God, guess where they took the president when he got shot? Guess where they took Trump when he got hurt? George Washington. Which professors are running around telling people about constitutional law when there's a constitutional crisis? Oh, the professors from George Washington. I worked my ass off. Afraid worked the ass off. We did without food. We weren't fucking. I was not considering like, oh yeah, the guys were sitting up there going, I need some stress relief. You better go over there to McDonald's. We had to deal with that in order to get out of school, get to the next level where we could come up with another couple $1,000s to sit for an exam, pass it, and then come out into the real world and try to be like Thurgood Marshall and fight the good fight. And then we suddenly realize, wait a minute, I got to feed my kids. My kids are sitting up there going, Mama, we want, Jordans too. Well, baby, I'm waiting on my client to try to pay me. Afraid said she gets $3,500. I know that there are a lot of y'all that know beauticians that charge more than $3,500 to do hair. I'm not saying if you got that kind of money, go right ahead and do it. But
Wow, I'm in the wrong business. 3,500
And
bucks.
not
Wow.
only that, but people pay 10,000 cash for a new ass in Dominican Republic.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you want to trick your money off like that, then do it. But don't complain about it when down the road you don't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't always look at the moment. It's kind of like how the one sister says she here in California. Okay, well, I'm in California too, and I'm not from here, but I've been here long enough to see things change. Okay, you have to
for the
think.
better or for the worse?
What's that?
Change for the better or for the worse?
It's for the
Just
worst.
change. I mean, everything
No,
changes.
it's the worst. It's the worst you've ever seen in U.S. history. You have never seen so many homeless people in your life. But I've done it all. Go on my YouTube channel. You'll see how I filmed all these black homeless people, and that was 3 or 4 years ago. The resources
But like I said, I see it better and for worse because I'm seeing more money.
Oh, that's no better. That's no better. No, you're totally wrong.
Peace family.
Oh no, it's not better. It's the worst.
Yeah.
You already lost 2 congressional seats. You're going to lose 2 congressional seats in California because there's so many people moving out. In the city of Lancaster, I went to the delis. The Jewish delis have given the recipes to the Mexicans. So now the Mexicans are doing the delis. So the Mexicans cook soul food. The Mexicans are doing Jewish delis. Oh no, it's not for the better. You're not going to tell.
Maybe not for you, but for me it is.
Well then,
so can I jump in real quick?
I'm passing the mic to my brother. He gonna talk now. So
all right, I appreciate that.
Could you explain to me?
Yo, peace, family. I just want to weigh in real quick, and I'm glad that the discussion has went in this direction. We were talking about it earlier on my guy Psycho channel, the ramifications of Roe versus Wade. And we were breaking down the history of Roe versus Wade. I won't bore y'all with the history, but basically, Roe versus Wade got passed on the propaganda that this white woman was raped by these black men, and that get lost in the sauce. At the end of the day, though, what we really should look at is this. This is a very complex discussion. We have moved the discussion from talking about Roe versus Wade to a more political discussion, and now that's where I was hoping that it would go, because y'all brought up a key point earlier that Trump was able to appoint 3 judges. Does anybody remember that they blocked Obama to where he couldn't appoint a judge the last few months of his presidency, and how that was unconstitutional? Does anybody remember that?
I remember.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I remember that. And I was sitting up there going, okay, you know something? The fact that Scalia was killed in Texas, that you don't fall asleep with a pillow over your head. It was the biggest cover up in American history other than JFK and the bomber in Dallas. I mean, the sniper in Dallas. Long and short of it is, hell yeah, you think the Republicans going to take that land down? You had a coroner call in the death certificate on Scalia. He called that shit in. She called that shit in. Oh, he an old white man. He dead.
And that story was swept under the rug. I'm glad that you bring that up as well. So there are a number of things that are happening. The issue is not that black folks don't want to get together and work together and things of that nature, because during COVID, we became very creative and started a lot of businesses during COVID. But we can't look at the world at the sky falling it from a pessimistic point of view. Is the point I wanted to bring up. We really do need to take time to try to figure out and organize. Stokely Carmichael, I don't want to just go on a rant, so I'll just end on this. Stokely Carmichael, better known to some as Kwame Ture. This is what he said. He said, you organize a little bit, you get a little bit done. You organize a lot, you get a lot done. But if you don't organize at all, you don't get anything done. And so that's the issue. Everybody trying to work individually when we really need to organize. And once we do that, man, we'll see the progress. We making progress, but we making it individually. We have
No,
to make it collectively. That's what I would say.
I'm gonna tell you what Stokely Carmichael told me. I got the pleasure of meeting him at Duke University. He said, we were all collective. We were all collective at one point in time. We were thinking about our children. We were thinking about our grandchildren yet to be born. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, you talking about what you want for your kids. That's what Martin Luther King talking about one day. Well, what do you want today? He said nobody had ever asked us what we wanted today. And that's when it all fell apart. Because it was like, y'all, I got 5 hamburgers right here. I know y'all hungry. So the first 5 of y'all that run up here and grab these hamburgers, y'all get to eat. But before y'all were fighting for food for everybody.
Well, Nichelle, as you described the story, it sounds like the Eve and Adam and the fall of man with Satan and the apple. That's exactly what your story sounds like.
I mean, think about it. Jesse Jackson just conveniently was there with photo opportunities with blood. He was a newbie on the block. He hadn't even been part of SNCC. He was there with blood on his shirt. Oh my God, Martin Luther King, I'm the heir apparent. Come on now. What has he really done? Afraid, how much did that motherfucker charge us to speak at Duke? Wasn't it $10,000?
Yep.
Because we were some black kids. We weren't rich black kids. We were black kids that were trying to get rich, but we hadn't gotten there yet. And you wanted to take our whole entire budget.
Right. No, we were first generation taking loans. We didn't have no black card.
Yeah. And we sitting up there, we were used. Montel came and spoke for free.
I got a theory on that. We the generation that was raised up on a different world. And so it gave us the perspective that college. I know that I was influenced by a different world, and shit, I was expecting to have that experience, and I did even more so when I went away to school, right? And so we didn't anticipate that. We went to school, a lot of us became professionals, and that's where I'm saying we need to look at this with a degree of optimism. Hey, do you know that in the first time in United States history, this is the first time where we got more black men in college than we do in jail?
Yeah.
Man, this is the first time that has ever happened. This is the first time it has ever happened. We have more degree professional black folks in America in the history of America.
But I'm going to tell you, like my mama used to tell my cousins, don't tell your husband how much money you done saved in the cookie jar. If he give you $100 to go buy groceries and you done spent 5 hours clipping coupons and going up and down the aisle trying to find the right generics and going to different stores to try to get the most for your money, at some point in time, you don't need to start bragging, because the husband that we marry to, whether we like it or not, our husband in the United States isn't by choice. We are the proverbial arranged marriage. We were married into this country. As soon as the Asians started to brag about how well they were doing, you notice they started cutting the number of Asians that could go to college. They're like, we're not going to accept any more Asians. We got enough Asians. Y'all nail technician kids are getting too smart. So at some point in time, I hear white men tell me all the time, Nichelle, why don't we have affirmative action in the NBA? It's not fair that the NBA is a bunch of tall black men. Well, you bred us that way, motherfuckers. You bred us to be strong. You bred us to be tall. You bred us.
Well, they own the parking and they own the tickets and they own the stadiums and they own the hotels and they own the so I think white men they getting they piece of the pie. If you
The
will.
rich white men are, but the day-to-day
if I'm being
middle class,
if I'm being
the
honest,
day-to-day.
like look at the executives, look at the scouts, the coaches. Yeah, white men are definitely playing a part in the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, every sports league they are represented. Let's be real, right? I mean,
I'm
uh,
I'm not arguing about that. I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah,
that as far as white people are concerned, if even you have white people that, let's just be honest, they will sit up there and honestly, I'm about to tell y'all something that's going to blow your minds because guess what? When they sell tissue samples, you know how they cut up all the aborted fetuses?
yeah,
They sell those.
yes,
They
man.
do not sit up there and look and say, was the mama white? No, they do a DNA sample and say, is there black DNA? If there's black DNA, they don't care who the mama is or who the daddy is. They say it's a black baby. That's why you got all these black DNA.
Well, it's a reason for that, and the reason is the overwhelming majority of us are type O blood, and if you type O, that means that you can go with A, B, or AB, whether it's positive or negative. When you are type O,
I'm talking something a little different than just O. I'm talking the alleles. Look at alleles.
well, yes,
That
man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I
you
mean,
remember
I
the
ain't gonna
movie?
get
You remember the movie Get Out? You remember the movie Get Out,
uh-huh.
where they were harvesting black parts?
Yes, ma'am.
They do that. They use baby parts in so many vaccines, and they use it in Viagra. All these, white men running around here talking about, I can finally get it up again. Thank you, black man. They sit up there and put plasma centers. Plasma's not blood. It's something they take out of your blood. They put them in poor neighborhoods, primarily at the border of poor white neighborhoods, downtown areas where there's a lot of homeless, and they use the allele.
Right, and they pay you for your plasma. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they pay you for your plasma.
Mhm.
Well, I had a lawsuit that I dealt with where the Japanese company said, hold up, these are not American alleles. We wanted the American alleles because they had been told that they were going to get a lot of strong black alleles,
American. Yes, ma'am.
strong black American alleles. Instead, they got Mexican alleles.
Right.
That the Mexicans were being shipped over the border on a day pass, and they would sit up there at the clinics on the border and donate their plasma. They get $175 once a week. That's a fortune down there.
Okay.
So once it was busted out that the alleles, the same way they sell plasma is the way they sell aborted fetal parts. At the end of the day, these white girls, everybody knows these white girls are obsessed with black dick. Y'all know it. Y'all taking advantage of it.
I'd like to say something. I got my good friend Lavelle with me. He's the gentleman that like to say something regarding that. I'm gonna pass the mic. Go ahead, Lavelle. Lavelle, go ahead and say something.
Okay, I'm a single parent with 2 boys, 121 and 127, and I want to know, what do I tell them in reference to abortions and all that? They're not relationship oriented at all. Nothing. They want to just hit it and quit it. And I've been trying to give them the right information and direction. How do I go about making them aware of what's going on? They're like, we don't like relationships. It's nothing permanent. What do I do about that? Can you help me?
What
please?
state are they in? What state are they in?
California. Both of them.
I would say this, bro. We definitely got to teach our young men better than we was taught.
Okay.
We certainly can't look at our sisters as just cum buckets and that be it, because eventually they might become fathers. And if they become fathers, if they've disrespected women in that way, there's no way they would be able to teach their sons, their daughters, respect for women. So we as men, our generation, we got to teach our boys better than we was taught.
Okay.
You know, that would be my simple answer.
I appreciate
You know,
that.
as a father, I'm not asking. It sounds like you're not with their mother. Are you with their mother?
No, not
Okay.
neither one of them. No, but I stayed with
Okay.
one of the mothers all the way to the boy's 21, and we just recently got a divorce. And he's
I
like,
want you to focus on telling your sons this.
okay,
You know, sow your wild seeds, but protect your family jewels. Emphasize to them how important your lineage is to you.
okay,
That y'all, I don't want no chicken heads coming up in as grandkids. Please show me the respect. Don't have chicken heads coming into my family lineage, weakening my male, your testament to God.
okay,
That teach your sons that your grandchildren, your great grandchildren are a testament to God. And then look at your mama. You know, don't disrespect your mama by bringing somebody in that is not on par with your mama. You know, I may not be perfect, but you're gonna sit up there and say you're less a man than me, and you have children with a woman that is disrespectful in your mama's eyes. She raised you. You know, have your fun. You know, there's so many ways to cover themselves.
Can I answer that too?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so that's kind of like my passion is talking to people about like parenting and how to help the next generation do better than what we did, right?
Okay.
So I do agree with Attorney Nichelle. I just think that it's something before that, right? Before they can focus on what their legacy is going to look like, before they can focus on not disappointing you or their mother, they have to care about them. We just had a conversation and y'all was flowing and I was learning some stuff because I don't really know all of the scientific parts. I know what I remember from high school and all of that. But since then, I haven't done science. So I was remembering the things that y'all were talking about. They have to care about what comes out of them. And so if they're thinking about pump and dump, what they need to understand is that when you do that, you are not building any connection to anybody. And that is a need. After all your basic needs are taken care of, human nature is going to make you feel like, okay, I got everything taken care of. I'm not hungry. I'm not homeless. I have clothes. Now I need to belong somewhere. My life has to have a purpose and a meaning. So they have to get to the point where they feel like their sperm is worth more than to just dump into any chick, to even be worried about whether abortion is legal or not. So that was my movement, is talking to young boys that you don't have to be bred as like, a walking penis or what have you. You don't have to, your manhood is not determined by how many women you could pump and dump. That's not like they want to get close to you. They want to have a connection to you. And your sperm is valuable because she's going to try to get that baby in order to stay with you. So you don't even give them the opportunity to do that. Don't even touch women that you don't feel like you would prefer to stay with you. And then they can say, now, out of the women that are good women that I am dealing with, which one of them would I prefer to have my children? Because at that moment, now you don't have to, even if it don't work out, you can then co-parent because you don't have a contempt for this person. You still have some respect for them. So I would say first, get them to build themselves up. And then that way they will be able to, even when you're not watching, even when they're not answering to you, then they will protect who they let in their space.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question.
I fully agree with that. And I think that's so profound. It really does begin with self-worth. And that's whether you're looking at this from a health perspective, a medical perspective, a psychological perspective, or a spiritual perspective. However you come at it, it has to begin internally. What begins internally then manifests externally.
Exactly.
So you have to build up their sense of self-worth, self-identity. Then from there, their sense of legacy.
I'm going to ask him a question as a father, his self-worth. We don't like to deal with our own mortality. I've had 3 strokes. Thank God above, I've survived. So
Yeah.
I've had to deal with my mortality. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about how you would go about getting someone to clean up after your own pee?
No.
I mean, who are you gonna be with? You know, when you married your wife, it was supposed to be, I'm not calling you out, my brother. There are
Okay.
a lot of A and B. But when you married your wife, didn't you really think, you said the words till death do us part, but did you really think that at some point in time, I'm going to be with this person to the point one of us is going to have to change the other person's diaper? Did you really
No,
think about it?
No, I never did. I never did think that far down the road in either one of the marriages. I was married twice. My first one, I had 2 children. The second one, but the same result. And now I have these boys, these men, and now they're like, Dad, I don't like the way the black woman pop her head and the way she talks. Because I'm trying to tell them it's time for y'all to give me some grandbabies. The oldest one, I'm like, I need grandbabies. And they're like, I don't like the way I said I prefer y'all to date African American people. No, we want the Hispanics and the white ones. They cater more to us, and they treat us better, and they're not popping the neck and talking crazy enough. So they prefer those. So I have a problem with that because as I grew up, I didn't want nothing but my sisters. I didn't think about anything else. So now I
So
took them out of the ghetto.
let's have that conversation, because you said let's not brush over things.
Okay.
There's the here, the now, and there is the long term, marriage, 50 years down the line, what's it going to look like? 60 years. White people got a song that says, will you still love me when my hair is gray and I'm 65?
Okay.
Will you still love me?
Right.
Back in the day when that song was written, when you said 65, that meant the dick wasn't working.
Right.
Probably had a beer gut.
Right.
That will you still love this person when they cannot have sex with you? Will you still love this person when they can't get up and clean the house?
Okay.
I mean, that is the reality of every relationship. One of you is going to have to watch the other one die. God forbid, unless you're in a car accident or something like that.
Okay.
The long and short of it is, when you say till death do us part, you're taking a risk that you're not going to go out together. And you're going to wind up growing old with them. And I don't care how much you try to, stay slim, the skin starts to get saggy. Men and women, your balls start to get gray. Have y'all ever looked at gray hair on pubic areas?
No, I haven't. I gotta just say that.
That's a nasty looking shit. That's a nasty looking shit. I don't care, male or female.
I would hope that
I concur. It's a total turn off. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean,
at that point, just shave it off.
Right. That's my next thing. You just shave it all off. Cut it all off.
Well,
but then shaving it all off causes other issues. I won't go into those, hair bumps, all that other crap.
Okay.
But at some point in time, your skin starts to sag, and you can sort of, and your balls start to droop, and your titties start to droop, and you start to get. I mean, everybody at some point in time.
You're talking about the loss of muscle mass. So after 30, women naturally lose muscle mass unless you begin to physically train and do weight-bearing activities. From the age of 30, you're going to become what Nichelle's describing.
And I'm saying like this, I'm 36, 24, 36, and I am 50 years old. But I've had 3 strokes. So I've seen my muscles atrophy in one leg. The other one, I sit there and do one arm, and it's like, oh, look at those beautiful muscles. I look at the other arm and go, God damn, who are you? And I'm sure, men are sitting up there going, wait a minute. Men start to shrink.
Right.
You start, These are things that, our American media is like, oh, you can be beautiful. You can look like Ricardo Montalban at any age. Yeah.
Well,
Macabre.
I was going to also suggest, brother, because these are I mean, professionally I deal with young men, right? And then my sons, they close to your age.
Okay.
It's exposure as well, bro. Like I literally show them, hey, this is Ice Cube wife right here. I know he made music like this, but this his wife. Hey, look, Snoop, right?
Right.
This, I know the music he made, but here go his wife. What do you think the secret to success is? It's not having a wife; it's having balance. Though you got to have balance in your life, and that's the value in a relationship. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Is creating that balance. Because if all you doing is chase and tail, eventually when you get old or older, you know, then this is when the conversation come up talking about women that been ran through and all of that. Hey, bro, you been Dirk Diggler too.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
Can I throw in something? I know I love dominating the conversation, but Jada Pickett, Will Smith's wife versus Ice T's wife. I mean, yeah,
Ice Cube. Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Fuck Ice T in that
Right.
bar. But look at, like I said, look at Ice Cube's wife. Look at Snoop Dogg's wife. And look at Will Smith. Who would you rather be right now? Will Smith with more money. He does have more money than Ice Cube.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not by a lot, but he got more money. But who would you rather be? Don't forget Denzel. I mean,
More
there are
like
some brothers.
well, that come down to what you value. You know, you got intrinsic value and then you got extrinsic value, right? And so it should be 80-20 on intrinsic value if you ask me. And that's taught at home, but it's what you value. You know what I'm saying? Because eventually, like you said, you gonna get old, right?
Right.
And if I'm being real, would you want to be with somebody that you've been with for 40 years when you get old, or 10 years? You see
Okay.
what I mean?
Right. Okay. Because the one for 40 has more value for you because of the time that you've been with him, and one for 10 watching you literally demise in front of their face, I think, some kind of way.
Yeah.
So
And
okay.
then this comment that's on the screen. Dudes don't want to hear all that. Yeah. See, in order to be a man, right? In order to be a man, sometimes you have to tell people no. What make you a man ain't the go along, get along game.
Right. Okay.
You see? So
Right.
you gotta have some integrity, right? I
Right.
mean, if I'm being real, it would be fun to sleep with 100 women, and maybe that might get excited, right? But
Mhm.
again, what do you value? What
Okay.
do you value? If you talking about when you get ready to settle down, man, you might have missed out on the one that could have helped you out and balanced you out. But you around here
I
being
got a
Dirk
question.
Diggler.
What's your thought on Nick Cannon? We have all watched Nick Cannon when he was a kid. Then he was on Nickelodeon. He married Mariah Carey, and now he's dipping and dipping.
Sperm donor.
Yeah, he's a sperm donor all over the place.
I,
I just think it's bad. I think it's really bad on his career. And I think he's lost a lot of respect in the industry because of bragging about that. I think what you're saying is so true.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually he's in the public eye, and
Right.
so he's rather famous or he's infamous. You got to be one, right? And I
Right.
would say he's more infamous than he is famous.
I agree. I
You know
agree.
what I'm saying? From now on, he gonna have to be a character in
Right.
order to get paid.
Right.
Again, it's what you value. He got plenty of money, so he probably could take care of the numerous kids that he done had. And it's probably been very exciting sleeping with. I mean, some of his baby mamas are beautiful. You know
Gorgeous.
what I'm saying? I
They're
don't want to.
gorgeous. Right.
I mean, I can't take nothing away from, but that's not what I value. I value my sons knowing that I'm their father. I get to see them every morning. I ain't never got to worry about another nigga being around my kids because they have been with me. I've been married. And they didn't know me since the time they were born. They don't know another life,
Right.
and so that's what I value. You know, I value their respect. There ain't no drama at my crib where my wifey going through my phone and my emails and hey, where the fuck you been? I don't have that type of drama.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I value. You see what I mean? And I'm
Right.
not gonna change that for nobody, for nothing,
Right.
because I
Right.
value. You did.
Especially a piece of ass on the side or something. I get it. I
Oh
totally
man,
get it.
that I mean, I'm married. I'm not blind. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I mean, the sisters are winning. I live in
Right.
Chicago, fam.
Right. Okay.
Hey, we got a bunch of beautiful women here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that ain't gonna fuck my shit up at the crib.
Right. Right. I got you. Okay. All right. Make a lot of
And you
sense.
have to have that kind of principle and value system.
Right.
You know, I'm in Chi-Town too. And yeah, it's popping up here, COVID or not. So if you don't have a value system, you're going to get caught out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hey, man, there it go, bro. You see it, right?
Right.
You know, man, if I
Right. I heard it
was
from the other side.
married, you know what I'm saying? Man, I'm
Right.
shooting my shot. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Right? But I mean, man, this is Chicago, where it's, I mean, a plethora. You know what I'm saying? Professional women, ghetto women. I mean, man, however you like them. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
And I mean, man, bro, they everywhere. If
Right.
I don't walk around with that in my mind, shit, man, I'm messed up around here, bro.
Right. Right. Get caught up quickly. Okay. All right. I
Yep.
appreciate that. Appreciate all that input from everybody. Thank you very, very much. I really needed that direction. And I need to hear it from the younger people where I can, because so I can go to them and try to, because I'm way older. I had them, I'm almost 60 years old. And I told you the ages of my children. And I'm concerned about them because I come from a single parent home. My dad wasn't there. He went to another household. He got a white woman. He raised the white woman's kids and my sisters, but he didn't raise us. So it's a lot of stuff that happened. So I don't want to repeat the same thing that he did. He forgot what his purpose was at a point. I don't want to forget that. I want to leave them with a direction and an understanding of how they're supposed to be to make our legacy or my lifelong children, grandkids continue to be put on the right track. So I appreciate you guys and hearing it from younger folks that make me be able to speak with them. But Dad, you don't know. It's a different whole world now, and these women ain't faithful. And the average time you stay with a woman is 2 years, 3 years, and that's it. And so they're telling me this, and I'm from another era, and I'm like, no, that's not how it is. That's not all women, is what I tell them. But I need to give them more information because they're very intelligent, like you guys, and they need to hear something more solid. And so this is why I've talked my.
There have always been hoes. Since you can go back to the Old Testament, you can go to and look at Proverbs, where they say in Proverbs, I don't remember the exact chapter. We will make sure we get it available.
Okay.
But in Proverbs, they warned the young man of the wanton woman that would try to ruin his family of more mature age. Young man, don't fall victim to your young loins desires.
Okay.
That could sit up there and destroy your family and your father's dreams. When you look at your child, when he was born, you had so many expectations from him.
Correct.
That at the end of the day, you have to protect your son sometimes from himself, not just the outside world.
Okay.
You want your son, you were married to the mothers.
Yes, both of them.
You looked at those sons as, oh my God, you are going to be there for us. We're going to spend Christmases. You're going to bring me my grandchildren over for Thanksgiving and Christmas, you saw that in his eyes.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
He deserves that same joy when he sees his child for the first time.
Okay.
I mean, yes, you're from a different generation, but goddamn, family been around since 10,000 years before Christ. You think
Right.
Samson didn't look at his kids and go, oh, I'm hoping for the best? David was a sinner
Right.
that gave the world the wisest man the world has ever known.
Okay.
At the end of the day, Joseph stood behind Mary, knowing good and damn well it wasn't his child.
Right.
But God
Right.
said, you're going
Right.
to change the world. If you can do that, you can change the world.
Okay.
That we come from fathers who were under immense pressure. I'm just going to start with slavery. These fathers, so many of our fathers were not allowed to love their children. But as soon as slavery ended, guess what? Fathers started loving their children. Fathers took on the civil rights. They set up there and got clubs knocked against their heads, fire hoses fired against their bodies. They got burned, brutalized, all because they wanted better for their children and their grandchildren. Make your sons realize that.
Okay. I appreciate
There's
it.
Well, let me say this because
they
I'm gonna go. I have to do something, so I got to actually take off. So I'm gonna say this in terms of parenting. I mean, think about like just what your children, you know their personality, you know their interests, so you know what'll get their attention. The thing that stops kids from listening to people who are older than them is the belief that you don't know what you're talking about. What I'm going through is different. So instead of trying to tell them, I would say find ways to show it to them. If you have examples of people around you guys that have like one person who chose the wrong woman and another one who chose somebody that was good and they weathered the storm,
Right.
don't just say the words, because the words don't really mean they'll hear the words, but the words won't solidify until they actually see it in practice. And now one of y'all brought up the Bible. It's also at the end of Revelations too. The difference between the two women that were in Revelations is one, if you pick one, she's gonna harm you, and the other one would have helped. So that's the issue is there's gonna be women out there who mean you harm. There's gonna be women out there that could mean good for you. What does that mean to you? You can't choose a woman just because your friends say she's cute or she fine. It needs more than that. You got to pick a woman that's going to fit into what it is you're planning on doing, like a puzzle piece. She's going to fit in already, not you molding her. She already comes with the motivation to do things the way that would be helpful to you. So when you find that, it may not be the chick with the baddest body, okay? But guess what? Your friends that went after the chick with the baddest body, they may not get what they need out of her, and then they're going to be wishing later on that they had chose differently. So don't just tell him the stuff. Show it to him in real time. So because that is how we solidify the truth. If you can't show an example, that means it don't exist.
Okay. That makes sense.
look at Will Smith. Show them Will Smith.
Yeah.
Show them Will Smith. He went after something that was glittered. And at the end of the day, he looked like a fool.
Yeah, exactly.
So at the end of the day, but also you need to worry about you, because your kids not going to believe you. They're going to be like, Daddy, you left our mama.
Both of them.
You left our mama.
Right. That's what I'm having a problem with. I didn't lead by example. So here I am now with these black men that need leading, and it's like I failed. Now my other brother, he's been with his wife 40 years. So he's the one that you was just talking about on the other side. So I totally get it. So I can compare those two. So I appreciate that very much.
And we wish you luck.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And I wish you happiness.
Okay. I
in your own life.
Thank you. I
You
need
understand
that.
what I'm saying?
Okay. All right.
Okay, God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for helping my friend Lavelle.
This is I'm so glad to meet a conservative, especially in California. Lord have mercy. I was born in California. I'm from Compton,
Hey.
city of Compton. Um, my family, much of my family moved up to, oh my God, forgive me. What is outside of San Francisco?
Oakland?
Kamala Harris's district.
You talking about Oakland?
Oakland. Yes, thank you. I've only been there once. I turned down a full ride to Stanford because all of a sudden my aunts were going to try to mold me. Oh, hell no. You know, y'all can't mold me in your Oakland style when I have grown up in Texas since I was 6 months old. I have a very tumultuous childhood, but please don't. That is nothing. My grandmother's grandfather was a United States congressman. She, my grandmother went out to California and lost. She didn't lose her mind. Her husband lost her mind. And once her husband lost her mind, she decided to do tit for tat, and it was end of the road for the kids from then on. So I have a family history of being way up here to way down there. I had a grandfather who raised his daughters, my biological mother and my aunt, to not aim for college, even though it was a family trust for college. My grandfathers had money for college. They were not one dimensional men. They sacrificed. Two men that came out of slavery set money aside, not for just one generation, but for at least two.
Wow.
At least two. One did it through real estate, one did it through politics and business, but the money was there. I remember in 1976 when my uncle was in jail. Why was my uncle in jail? Because my biological grandfather said there was no place for a black man in the United States. If you believe that, then get him the fuck out.
Come on now.
Right.
I mean, what the fuck? That you black women, you are not going to get a black man. A black man don't want to hear about your education. You married my grandmother because you guys met in college, but then she thought she was my equal. Hello? She thought she was your intellectual equal. She wasn't a fool. Physically, when the white man came to start burning the house down, you take the front, I'll take the back. She had that kind of mentality. She wasn't going to be sitting up there, the white man up front. No, she was going to protect your children. That at the end of the day, black men, stop with this whole, I need you to submit, but I also I need you to be my ride or die chick. What does that even mean? If you're a ride or die chick, that means I'm in the car with you and I'm going to keep riding with you until I die. Ride or die, not ride and die. It means that I'm going to be in the car with you. And what does the or mean in ride or die?
Man, let me say this, right? I would say that unrealistic expectations that break up more relationships than cheating. You know,
I agree.
you can't. Again, it gotta be 100. A lot of times people say 50-50 or whatever in a relationship. It gotta be 100 on your end, 100 on the other person end in order for it to work. Because here go the thing, like being in a relationship is like you gotta make it work, man. It ain't just gonna work on its own. It ain't no secret, it ain't no, it ain't no magic, it ain't no, it's man, is you loving the person through their flaws, seeing their potential and wanting to stay there with them. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. That funny feeling and all them butterflies, eventually that go away. You know what I'm
Some days
saying?
you don't even like the motherfucker you in the
Right.
house with. You
Amen.
don't like it.
You know,
Amen.
it's a
I
book.
mean,
It's a book. It's written by this man. His name is Stephen Covey, and the book is called "The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People." He got a really profound quote from the book, and it say, "We tend to believe that we see reality for what it is. The truth is, we see reality how we are." Right? That's your problem with your sons. They did heard probably some talking points from the manosphere. You know, all these women is hoes, save
Right.
yourself, black man, and all this goofy shit. You know, and it has poisoned their perspective on the women where that we need in order to continue this social fight that we gotta have. You know, people
Yeah.
gotta understand. You know, we behind enemy lines. You know, and it's important that we look at it from that perspective because you know, other groups of people, other ethnicities, they move as a group, fam.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
agree.
did y'all notice one thing about? I mean, if you were on the conversation, I know some of y'all were. Some of y'all tuned in late. Did y'all notice that my line sister? I'm a Delta, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. My line sister. I mean, right or wrong, y'all notice I'm never going to say whether she was right or wrong. I said
Yeah, and rightly so. It's called a
okay,
tribe. It's called a tribe.
okay. At the end of the day, I tried to pacify the situation, and Afro comes up there. Afro's like, Nichelle, are you being loud too? Afro, I'm just loud. I'm vulgar. I take the stones that are being thrown at me for saying the things that
No,
I
but
say.
that wasn't my point, and you know it. My point was I'm not any more loud than anyone else on this panel.
Right. And you're right. But what I'm trying to say is our mission today, get back on mission because I love you. Our mission today is to sit up here because I love you. You have a profound gift. You have a profound gift from God to help our Black brothers and sisters. We help people beyond our Black brothers and sisters because we're Americans, y'all are cousins and all that shit. You still fam, but you're cousins. So I tell white people that all the time. I said, you know something? They're like, Nichelle, but that's my brothers and sisters. Y'all my cousins. I still love y'all, but I'm going to fight for my brothers and sisters a lot harder than I'm going to fight for my cousins. I'm going to be there for my cousins. Don't get me wrong. We fam. I'm still part of the American family. I'm still part of the Texas family. I am a conservative. I know. Let me rephrase that. I'm a Republican. I don't believe in some of this damn conservative. Some of the how do you say the bootleg the
yeah.
incestual. I can't go
So
with they just an abomination to God. I just can't go with abominations from God, even if we blood related.
I would warn against, and that was something else that kind of brung me up on the panel. I noticed that we had a few people on the panel earlier that were conservative, Republican, and things of this nature. Um, the two-party system in this country has never been a friend of black folk. We
Right.
gotta understand that. Um, I can run down the history and all of that, but basically, the Republicans are the ones who they would call the radical Republicans. They are the ones who came up with the what they call the Reconstruction Amendments, the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment, and those were specifically for us. And
Let
so,
me tell every black person this. Let me break it down. Whether your state has a primary or a caucus, because each state has one or the other. But very few states, very few states are closed caucuses or closed primaries, which means that guess what? You can decide which Republican, even though you may be Democratic in your heart, you can go over. How do you think Reagan won? Reagan was a Democrat that decided to run on the Republican side, and he said, let me talk to the Republicans because the Democrats didn't want to hear his shit. So he came over to the Republican side and he had supporters and they got in the Republican Party. And Reagan is now considered the god of the Republican Party. Trump used to be a Democrat. He's now the god of the Republican Party.
I mean, Trump. If you are making the argument for those two men, those two men are so flawed morally and ethically.
I didn't say they weren't, but they knew the system.
I couldn't take them. I would say Reagan had a very shrewd political.
Knew the system.
I'm sorry.
They knew the system. They came in. They said, "Okay, this is a system."
And so, in what way? Cause see, I'm one of those people. I'm for black people. I don't care about Republicans or Democrats or anything like that. I just know that politically speaking, just my experience, and it might be because I'm from Chicago. I've gotten more out of Democrats politically speaking than Republicans.
Okay, then that means that if you want to create a powerhouse in politics, you understand how the system is played. It's chess, not checkers.
All right, correct.
That what you have, where it begins is the precinct level. That you strategically, people don't participate in precincts. It's literally after 7 o'clock, after the primary session begins. You vote at 7 o'clock. Before 7. After 7 becomes the precinct conventions. Oh, wow. What do we do at a precinct convention? We sit up there and say, this is what our party is about. This is where we sit up there and do our party planks.
Well, on a national level, that where
it has to go.
Let me say this out loud to you, right? And it's still echoing to this day. Trickle down economics, which was instituted by Ronald Reagan, it has depleted black folks from opportunities galore. Right. And I mean, and it's still echoing to this day.
Again, you won't let me finish on how the system works. I said it's chess, not checkers, and you're sitting up there saying they got my king. Okay, yes, they got their king because you were playing chess, not checkers. You were playing chess, checkers, not chess.
And so basically, what you're saying is you want some spook by the door type stuff.
No, I don't want spook by the door. I want spook
that stood by the you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you mean, and that's what I'm saying. The political process.
You said no. You're not on that.
No, I'm saying what you do is you go in and you look at every precinct convention. Where are the precinct conventions? Where can I infiltrate the precinct conventions? What the hell are you talking about, Nichelle? Look at what precinct you can vote for. As a Democrat or Republican, you can vote at the precinct level. Where can you shake it up? On the Republican side or the Democratic side?
I'm agreeing with you that local politics is.
It's not local. This is national. This is national. precinct
what
convention.
all right, so
Stop.
nationally, you
Stop.
understand.
Listen to me.
I'm
Listen
listening
to
to
me.
you're talking
Listen.
about the pre what okay, baby.
That's what
Go
I'm trying to get you to understand.
no,
You cannot go to, you cannot get to national till you go through precinct. You cannot go to, it's a step. You go from precinct. In the game of chess, you have to go from precinct convention to senatorial district convention on both sides. You go to senatorial district convention to state convention. Then out of each and every one of them, they pick, if you were at the state precinct level, you can go to the state senatorial district. Once you go from the state senatorial division, the district, you can then go to you can go from the state senatorial district to the state assembly, whatever they call it. You go from state to federal on both sides. It's there. The people that get to cast the vote for the Republican nomination or the Democratic nomination have to go through the precinct level, to the senatorial level, to the state level, and then get elected to the national level. I mean, Black folks are so like, I understand Bernie lost because Black people did not understand that once you voted during the day, I took off from work to go vote at the precinct level. There was another level that was going on. There was, you thought you were playing checkers. You played checkers. I voted for Bernie. Then they met at night. Checkers. Chess. Excuse me, chess. The chess level is where we don't understand. You need to go back after you vote on your, you know, you voted. You voted. Thank you. Now you need to go through your,
if I could, because I mean, like what you're saying, I don't disagree with, and I thoroughly understand it. And I'm involved in local politics where
how
I'm
many
from. So,
precinct conventions have,
wait a
does
minute.
your state,
I let
yeah,
you go and I didn't
yeah,
interrupt you, right?
okay,
And so
okay.
I'm trying to run down, I'm just trying to run down, how I'm involved. And so back in December, I am involved with a team that allows and helps people get on the ballot. So I'm part of a team that goes out and get the signatures to actually get our people on the ballot. And I'm looking at a flyer right now for my guy. His name is Timothy W. Wright. He running for the fifth sub circuit uh judgeship here in Cook County, right? Why is that important? Because he's gonna be dealing with cases between 75th Street all the way up to like I believe somewhere on the north side. I can't remember the exact street. But basically that's a lot of our brothers who he gonna be over their court case. All right, so why am I saying that? That's how you directly affect how many people go to prison and what for, how long their sentences are based on the guidelines that are on the state side, right? Then I got connections with the Attorney General's office of the state of Illinois. His name is Kwame Raoul, and I'm also looking to get other judges that's coming out of law school here, John Marshall Law School here in downtown Chicago, so that we can start setting them up to be able to run for judge in the next 4 to 6 years. You
I
see that?
commend you on that.
So
I
like
commend
you say, wait a minute. So when you say that we so slow and we not doing
I
nothing,
didn't say that. I didn't say that.
wait a
I
minute,
said,
I mean, I'm gonna let you go. If you got some rebuttals, then you can, right? But what I'm saying is that black people are astute. We are aware. We are doing stuff, right? It's just not broadcasted out on a big level, because if we broadcast out on what we doing, what we gonna get? We gonna get white reaction to what we doing. Do you see what I'm
and
saying?
what I just said up there and say.
Well,
I said there and
BMT,
say,
I'm going to have to get ready to go. We've been going 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
And
we
it's
can wrap
been
this up.
wonderful.
We can wrap it up now.
no, don't wrap it up because of Afray. Because he made a valid point. We need to start talking. We need to start
Okay,
talking
go ahead, let it.
that at the end of the day, you're right. Local politics is important. That everything you said is local. And what I was talking about, I said chess, not checkers. You are playing local chess. I'm not deriding you on playing local chess. At the end of the day, I probably hit something. Can y'all hear me? Are y'all still there? I
I
don't
just
hear.
Yeah, Mama, I'm
yeah,
listening.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is that we have local, state, and federal. There are three different entities, and the way that we approach them, unfortunately, is slightly different. You cannot get to federal without going through the precincts. You can get through state, you can get through state, you can get through local, different local
Yeah,
by local.
I just be talking about being practical.
And I
And like,
say
in
this,
order to run
and I,
for a national, wait a minute, in order to run for a national office, you gotta have a treasure chest. You need about $20 million to run for the Senate. You, in order to do all of the traveling all through the state, run the campaign to where like you ain't looking for money, and you be able to make all of your speaking engagements, and you need about $20 million on average. It don't matter what state you're talking about. And if you're talking about California, you're gonna need $40 million. You know what I'm saying? Because California kind of a big state in a way, right? It's the
you're
big
not lying. You're
the
not lying.
that I
But
got with what
Rose,
you're saying
you're not
is that
lying.
like, yeah, we gotta work with the precincts and everything. That's true, right? But you know what I'm saying, we not gonna get there on no hope and a prayer. We gotta find some money, sis. We gotta
You
find some
know,
money to
what I'm
run
saying
the
is
election.
that I'm sitting up here in Texas. I'm sitting up here in Texas. I can't lie
It's
to you.
the second largest one.
I'm sitting up here in Texas, and to my sister that was like, damn, California's losing seats. Yeah, we gaining them. But at the end of the day, we, let's just be honest. At the end of the day, it starts with grassroots efforts. It starts with the grassroots efforts to sit up there and say, what are the three things that Black people want? And I'm going to sit up there and open up the panel to say, what are the three Black grassroots efforts, things you want on your local level, city level? What do you want on your state level? What do you want on your national level? I mean, there are three different levels. You can't. Black people want money. Okay. From who? Uh, I don't care. Okay. That ain't helping. That you get a different level of money from your local I just want you motherfuckers to stop killing. Okay. That's usually your local police. That's where
You know what?
I'm.
You know what though? Nothing stop a bullet like a job. You know?
I want.
And
Uh,
so
uh,
and so what we gotta do locally, right? If we want to stop people from killing and all of this kind of stuff, we need access to these young people. How do you get access to them? By offering them something like a job, a training program. Those are the things that we need to be working on, right? And how do we get those things off the ground? We get those things off the ground by getting funding from politicians during a time like this, the midterm elections, where people trying to get on the ballot. And if you help them get on the ballot, like wink, wink, getting them signatures so that they can get on the ballot, right? Bang. They don't forget that kind of stuff. I don't have no money to offer these candidates, but what I do have is some hard work, some common sense, practical hard work that you can put into the community. Hey, look, help this sister get on the ballot. All we need for you to do is be a registered voter and sign right here. Bam, I ain't registered. You not registered? Here, talk to this lady right here, and she can get you registered right now. We can get you
I
online.
mean,
Bang.
I'm
That
look.
kind of stuff
My.
is stuff like the stuff that we talk
I
about
mean,
sometimes is not
I know
practical.
y'all talking. I know
Yeah.
y'all talking. But when my daughter listened to me, her boyfriend listened to me, I said, I hear y'all talking. I hear black folks talking, but I can get you $175 uh, guaranteed money per day. That all you talking, we can do this, we can do that. I can get you. My daughter said, Mama, yeah, I'm on board. I want $175 per day because I have people that at the end of the day, this is what we need your daughter to say. My daughter, she is beholden to $175 per day. I ain't beholden to nobody. The money that I make, I got it. What I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to teach y'all the system. Don't listen to me if you don't want to. And sit up there and talk about wispy dusk. If it's your first time having sex, you won't get pregnant. Please stop that bullshit. That I've been in politics for, well, I've been a lawyer for 25 years. I have been an advocate for longer. I was walking around with my mama getting people to register to vote before I was 12 years old. So were my kids. That what I'm trying to tell y'all is y'all are sitting up there talking about shit like um Daisy Fairy shit that black people need to start. Okay, that the parties that I work with, they're sitting up there saying it costs us $5 a vote for every black vote. Yeah, we ain't gonna pay that. Um, but it's going to cost us $5 per vote to get the message out that this guy is talking about blah blah blah. But he's not reaching the black people. But but he says he has the best message to black people. No, he don't. Candace Owens has the best message to white females. With we talked about another brother. They have the best message out there. Black males that can explain to white males why they should vote for Republicans is $4. $4. In order to convince black females to convince black females to vote for Republicans is $5. Every candidate sits up there and looks at that. Do I need to listen? It was going to cost me $5 per vote to get black females to vote for Republicans. Fuck it. I don't have $5. Fuck it. But I got $4 for black men. How much does it cost for Democrats? I need because I get these statistics off of my desk every day. I'm a political consultant. That if you're a black male and you want to vote, you're gonna run for office. Oh, I got $30,000. What the fuck do you think that's gonna do? Realistically, you're going to put $30,000. Oh, but if you run on the Democratic side, I have Democrats simply going begging me, Michelle, we'll give you $100,000 to run as a Democrat. You know, I believe in black babies. I believe in my cousins as white folks. I'm in the United States. White women, black women, you know, I want the best for the United States. I'm not trying to run a crash and burn campaign for white women, white people, white men. I do realize that there is a pie. We gotta learn how to share the pie. So I am sitting up here sometimes going, I will only run for office if I am a person that you believe that is about family. Yes, I might sit up there and be a little bit more empathetic toward my brothers and sisters. I might be a little bit more empathetic toward my sisters. But at the end of the day, my cousins are my cousins. I love y'all. I love the USA. And so at the end of the day, we have to sit there and decide where we want to be in the United States. Do we want to be at war with our own cousins, our own family? The world is looking at us, looking at our weaknesses. And our weakness is the fact that we won't love each other as brothers, sisters, and cousins. It looks like I need to say goodnight to all of y'all. But remember, if you are a Black American in this country, every Black man, every Black woman is somehow or another either your cousin or your sister. And if you're not willing to understand that every white person in this country is just as much as a cousin as your white, they may be more of a distant cousin, but they're still your cousins. They still your family. I'll go back on my side and say the same thing. We are family. We are one country. Let's fight for each other because we family. We are the United States of America. Michigan, Mississippi, y'all are, in some respects, some distant cousins, but y'all still family. Y'all still family. We started this journey as Americans, as family. Some of us didn't get there. We had to wait for the DNA test to come by. And as of January 19th, June 19th, I'm sorry, June 19th, we got our DNA. That I've told everyone that